Let me get you out of here.
We're gonna be together forever and ever.
You're a human as far as I'm concerned.
From ashes.
What's up, doggos? Welcome back to another. I see a little silhouette of a man. You know, Fandango Boy's here. I'm very excited. It is the time. Interlude quest, baby. Ooh, I'm very ready for this. The Fandango Boy. Mr. Fandango Man is here. Oh, joy. Oh joy. Yeah, you know what? First and foremost, let's get this. Let's get the man himself. Let's get this. You know what? Let me pull up his summoning circle.
A few moments later.
Just to respect your origin, we're doing it in front of Tenchukaku. I feel that's only fitting. Right here. And also as your mother. Right? Oh, hey, you know what? Cool. Wow, my first pull is a weapon pull. 60. Maybe can we get him early? Let's get him early. Yanfei. Nope. Okay. Oh, Sax. Hey, actually, you know that's good. Ouch, that hurts, man. Please. Please let us get us early. Please. You'll do the Fandango. I believe in the boy. Fuck me. Right, cause he's in the standard banner now. Yay. Well, goodies that. Hey, look at my boy. Look at that boy. Hey, look at him. Ah. Oh shit, hold on. Flying.
The wind rises.
And jump! Woo! Oh shit, that is so fucking sick. Inversion of Genesis, Interlude Chapter Act 3. The night bird falls at the curtain's call. Go to the Sanctuary of Tatarasuna. In order to look for more information about your sibling, you and Paimon decide to visit Nahida in the Sanctuary of Tatarasuna once more. Along the way, you hear people discussing something. Is there a new wanderer in town? Ooh.
Come on, serious suggestions, please. I'm not trying to write a thriller here. It's supposed to be an essay, you understand? An essay. That means facts and logic.
Right, that's the essay that sends us on the scouting
if it's
mission.
Facts and logic you're after. You shot yourself in the foot with your choice of
Sawada.
research topic, didn't you? The Tatarasuna mystery. When so much remains unexplained, there's little to be objective about. Unless, of course, you restrict yourself to textual criticism.
Yeah, well, this is my teacher's area of research. I can't change that. But it's fascinating enough without having to sensationalize it, don't you think? The strange location, the missing details, a mysterious person.
Did one of them just mention Tatarasuna? But that's all the way in Inazuma. Is it just Paimon, or is it kinda unusual for someone in Sumeru to want to write a paper about that? Everyone here's just
Gotta widen their perspective and look outside the box for them research topics to get them A grades.
Let's go find out what this Tatarasuna mystery is all about.
Okay. What's up, fellows? I'm gonna enjoy doing that so much.
Alright, I guess I'll go with my textual criticism and your editorial direction for the first draft. I have a feeling that the missing Kabukimono will end up being the main focus of this paper.
That's awkward, because that's literally me.
If only we knew where to find that traveler. From what they say about her, this seems like the kind of thing she'd know about.
You called?
Oh, you're the traveler, you say?
Yeah, you know, blonde hair, white floaty assistants.
This is my first time coming face to face with you and your mysterious silver-haired companion. I couldn't believe my luck, and out of force of habit, I started, examining the evidence. Sorry.
Were you there when we, dusted Signora?
Oh, Sawada, for the love of... Sorry, we don't get out much, so our social skills are kinda lacking. Traveler, I hear you've helped many people a great deal and been to many places. Would you be able to tell us about Tatarasuna?
I mean, what I remember, the forge got sabotaged, and Scaramouche was there when it happened, or involved, actually.
Actually, we don't know much about that place either. In fact, we only came over here because we heard you talking about it and wanted to learn more.
I see.
Sorry, I can't help this time. You know, maybe go ask your godly, wholesome, teri daijori Archon, you know?
My teacher chose this area of research as a personal challenge. He said it's difficult to get into because even Inazumans don't know much about Tatarasuna's past. But who'd have thought that...
If you don't mind, I'd love to show you all my outline for the book I'm writing about Tatarasuna.
Hold on, Sawada. Don't you think that's a bit of a deep dive for a first read?
Well, fair point. In that case, please ease yourselves in gently by taking a look at Aqaba's latest essay draft.
Right, oh god.
Let me give
Don't
you
make
some
me
background.
read through it.
This all started with the discovery of some records in Tatarasuna. The writings mentioned someone by the name of Mikoshi Nagamasa, who crafted a fine blade. But in the end, he threw it into a fire to destroy it, and killed his servant Katsuragi. Why? Well, no one knows.
Katsuragi?
The records also mention a Kabukimono. This seems to be an Inazuman word for an eccentric stranger, someone who dresses funny or acts in an unusual way.
That's right. Aqaba's teacher has spent quite some time researching these events on the ground. This Kabukimono lived in Tatarasuna for a while before disappearing without a trace, and shortly afterwards, as Aqaba mentioned, things got pretty ugly.
So first this strange person goes missing, then a murder happens? Seems kinda fishy to Paimon.
Yes, my thoughts exactly. So I helped out too. I asked everyone I could think of if they knew anything about what happened back then. And wow! Did I get lucky!
Stop shouting!
Even back then, Tatarasuna was already at the center of Inazuma's smelting industry. The man in charge was a government official named Niwa. Curiously enough, it seems like he went missing too.
I've heard that name come up while watching Arnold's stream. Could it be?
Niwa is a name with a lot of history to it. Have you ever heard of the great swordsmith clans of Inazuma?
Yes, that all got brought down by the same person.
This Niwa was a distant relative of the Kaidahara clan, the last practitioners of Ishin art. Something then seems to have happened in the Kaidahara clan, leading to their downfall. I don't know the details, but taken in light of everything else going on around that time, it makes you wonder whether it's all connected somehow.
Oh, Sawada. If only you knew.
Sawada, you left out the biggest detail of all.
There's more?
Oh, yes, of course. How could I forget? Brace your minds, ladies and gents, for they are about to be blown. Or maybe you won't believe your ears. I wouldn't blame you, of course, because in all my years as a writer, this is by far the most.
Get to the point, for Pete's sake.
According to information acquired by Aqaba's teacher, the Kabukimono was not a human, but a puppet.
Yeah, I read the lore, so Totally did not see that coming at all. But, you know, for the sake of not disappointing you with my reaction. The Shogun puppet at the Electro Archon Mage should be ruling Inazuma with her as we speak. It couldn't be her. Well, there's the beta test dummy. So, the Kabukimono has to be the Balladeer. But what was he doing 400 years ago in Tatarasuna?
Aha! Judging by the looks on your faces, you do know something after all.
Glare at Paimon and hope she keeps her mouth shut.
No! Paimon just meant, how creepy.
It's best they don't know the backstory of this.
But considering that non-human races in Inazuma are by no means uncommon,
Tengu,
spooky events are
Oni,
to be expected. And that's exactly what my book is about. Please, take a look.
Miko. The Isle of Darkling Clouds. A man arrived in Tatarasuna around 3 in the afternoon. From afar, I see spied laborers walking along the mountain roads towards the factories, their shoes scuffing around the jutting stones. They walk like people convinced that so long as they reach the fire raging in the mountain's belly, they might extract from it gems beyond price. The mood that the sights inspired was ineffable, beyond mere description for those not present to witness it. The man barked a cheerful greeting and sprinted to join the procession. There, a towering character who stood half a head taller than him greeted him with a heavy slap on the back, and yet his words were filled with respect. Do my eyes deceive me, Sir Miyazaki? I cannot think that the return trip here from Inazuma City could have been easy on you. Miyazaki smiled like a young man taking his first steps on his journey. Expressions relaxed. Why, Katsuragi? Inazuma is the realm of the almighty Shogun. I sailed upon the fastest ships, strode along the swiftest sea routes. What dangers could I have possibly faced? And what about the good news? There was some, naturally. The two burst into uproarious laughter, roughhousing with their other workers until the path's end. A young man dressed in a linen shirt and wearing a headscarf gazed into the dancing flames of the furnace before him. Now the flames of the forge are unlike any other, for their intensity affects the resulting integrity of both mantle and blade. So too, then, was the Flame Watcher an unusual individual. At his fingertips sat a lizard, and on his face wore a smile. The workshop was huge, and the furnace was deeper within. A reasonable person might think that there should have been many workers alongside the Watcher, yet he stood alone. Only when Katsuragi and Miyazaki strode into the room did the Watcher turn. The Watcher was Niwa, armory officer and administrator of Tatarasuna, born into the Niwa clan, which served as one of the 3 pillars of the Ishin art. Niwa never argued with his siblings and was a worthy successor by all accounts. The post he received as a result of his high standing with those in power served as a statement unto itself. Miyazaki handed a well-bundled text to Niwa as he adjusted his expression. It said, It is as you have said, sir. The elders of your clan in the city do not think highly of our plan, and I still believe it is worth a try. As such, I have found the proper vendors and procured the materials that you requested. Niwa studied the text and nodded. We should try and find these new forging techniques, whether Kaidehara says yea or nay. Katsuragi followed. With a sigh he said, Forging is a precise and difficult undertaking. You know this better than most, sirs. And still, you seek improvement each day with terrifying drive. Ah, should my lord Nagamasas hear this, their sourness in their face shall be hard to miss. Niwa smiled, replying, And how goes the forging of our lord's great blades, Katsuragi? Katsuragi neither wanted to shame his master nor lie to his 2 friends, and yet he could not think of any way to deflect, so growled, I see your ears are as keen as your hands, Sir Niwa. The jokes of us unlearned men are as nothing before you. Miyazaki hid his grin. Upon hearing this, Niwa released the lizard from his hand into Katsuragi's palm. But just as more words were to be exchanged, someone came walking by. The footsteps light with celerity of youth. The head that peeked in was round, and in the light of fires looked like an oiled jewel. The young man placed some boxes of food at the side, and nodding, he prepared to leave. Katsuragi called out after him, What about this your share? Aren't you going to eat it? The young man, upon hearing those words, found himself slightly at loss. After a while, he answered, Very well. I'll try. You are welcome to the food. We will all eat same fare, after all. Niwa said. The man nodded and left, seemingly deep in thought. Extract 2. Kabukimono was by the coast. Sunset fell to the accompaniment of darkness. The bands of twilight showed themselves not, for in the place did thunderclouds roll, grumbling the omen of oncoming rainstorm. Darkness filled the flesh of the sea, and the dusk blayed the clouds to kneel upon the land, its application mirroring the Kabukimono. With knees bent and face pointed towards the waters. None passed that way, and none knew what he was waiting for in silence. Time passed, unmeasured and uncounted, till the black cloud suddenly tore free from the sky and began to circle the Kabukimono, bearing down on him like a nightmare. Though he was not aware at first, after his steady gaze was refined by time, he understood. This cloud had marked him from the very start. Outbound, a fishing boat drew near, the light of its bow flickering in and out of sight beneath falling sheets of rain. A mist unspooled across the area, stealing sight from the fisherman. Repeatedly, he exclaimed, It is dusk. How are my eyes darkened? Is there anyone that can deliver my boat upon the safe tides? Like a falling spear, the black cloud reached the bottom of the boat, and was joined in its breadthness of direction. Like a charging beast, they plunged into the shoreline. Scant step away, the Kabukimono stood idle, slanting his head to study the grand wreck. Not but half an arm was left of the one who had cried out for help, and with a plop, it landed at Kabukimono's feet. He crouched to better study the object, straining against the urge to take a bow. Down? Jesus. Yet he did not, for the dark cloud swirling down had already picked the remnants of the ship clean. The Kabukimono stared at it blankly, like an awakening dreamer. When he returned to himself, the clouds had scattered, as if he had never been there at all. As for the ship, could it have been struck down by a storm? Who was to know? Not the Kabukimono. Scar, you wanted to bite a torn-off limb? Dang. Katsuragi rushed to the doorway and shouted, "My lord, things go ill at the furnace. I've searched for Sir Niwa. There's no trace of him, and much time has passed since Sir Miyazaki left to seek aid, but he has yet to send us any missive. Look." Mikoshi Nagamasa turned slowly, his face grave as one attending a funeral. He spoke then, his words heavily laden. "I wish not to say such words, Katsuragi, but Sir Miyazaki may never return." Katsuragi peered past Nagamasa's board, stiff shoulders beyond the windows. The clouds above boiled in waves of black, as if darkness now was the only weather, and might even morph into an abyssal beast and devour Tatarasuna whole. Over 10 people had already perished. That was why... Katsuragi recoiled as if it struck. Yes! It was coming back to him now, in dribs and drabs. That's why they had to set out and seek aid. Miyazaki had been the first to set sail. The clouds had only just begun to form. Traveling from Tatarasuna to Inazuma to ask for support was normally no great feat, and yet there had been no signs of his return. The second ship was sent, followed by a third and a fourth, till the Kabukimono himself had departed upon the tides, upon foul skies and ominous fortunes. It had been Katsuragi who had brought him back and treated him as his own, and it pained him greatly to see the lad go. Yet the situation in Tatarasuna was severe. Even should they sacrifice more lives, it would have been worth it to gain assistance from Inazuma City. Niwa was gone, and none could find him. Afterward, Nagamasa led a search party into the mountains and the area around the furnace, all to no avail. Folk began to wonder if Niwa might have encountered an accident, but worry soon turned into suspicion, as if they wondered if he had fled, only to bear the sin of having caused these incidents. The people grew even more suspicious, and Nagamasa himself strained against his stock discontented fury. His face had grown to resemble the rumbling clouds above. Suddenly, a figure flashed by. The presence did not go unnoticed by Nagamasa. He drew his blade and cut, though he only nicked the silken veil the intruder wore. For a moment, they swayed, and then, like a marionette pulled by strings, they moved behind Nagamasa, laughing darkly. "Are you seeking someone, my lord? Niwa, perhaps?" Nagamasa bellowed in fury. "You dare address Sir Niwa directly?" Yet the figure parted like mist before his falling blade, only to rematerialize beyond the reach, but not beyond sight. A ghastly apparition indeed. "Was it you who slew my people?" Nagamasa howled and charged, helped only by Katsuragi's desperate grip. As his sense returned to him, he realized he was but an inch away from falling into this furnace. It seemed that the rest of his work remains unfinished. From the existing text, however, it is apparent that this is a novel of fantastical, colorful sensibilities, born from an imagination well utilized.
Oh, and please read my essay draft as well.
A brief analysis of possible events of historical importance in the Tatarasuna area. Details: the text belongs to a series of works sponsored by Fahamuva's Veil Cutter project and is yet to be numbered. Author, Aqaba. Abstract: the Tatarasuna area has always been a major pillar of Inazuma's smithing industry. 2 incidents have occurred there, and the details behind the first area were vague at best. I believe, however, that there might be a hidden story behind the events that transpired. Hence, this paper will attempt to analyze many that are unfolded from the available data. Glossary: Tatarasuna area. Raiden Gokaden, Mikoshi Nagamasa, Kabukimono. Introduction. This paper continues to expand on the work of my mentor, Mr. Ruby, and is important in the happily hidden tales of Tatarasuna, and is intended to further the venue of this research. According to the data, the blade forging techniques of Inazuma were originally handed down from the Electro Archon, also known as Raiden Shogun. Using the art that they inherited from the Archon, the people of Inazuma devoted themselves to the process of forging. However, the strange rumors that do not quite fit the steely nature of metalwork yet linger around town, which was a central pillar for the forging industry. There, the Mikoshi and the Niwa clans, along with their eccentric puppet, serve as the 3 widows of this insight that we need to investigate behind the truth of what happened. Body. Strange notes from the Tatarasuna area. The content are as follows. 1. Perhaps I overstepped, but I think Sir Nagamasa's mood grows better when he forges blades. The obsession to cleanse the stain of Mikoshi must eat at him. Also, Sir Katsuragi discovered a nameless eccentric while patrolling around Nazuchi Beach. The inspector brought a certain number of jade steel ingots. Sir Katsuragi discussed matters of smithing deep into the night with the vice armored officer. 3. We at last made a single Nagamaki. We call it the Daitatara Nagamasa. The inspector was in high spirits, and he and the vice army officer. Nozomu was so taken by the beauty of the Daitatara Nagamasa that he drew a picture of it, and he performed the sword dance with the wandering eccentric. And we could not find that instructor. The inspector flew into rage and slashed Katsuragi. The great blade cut into the flesh. Nozomu could not abide by the order, and drew the completely melted weapon out of the furnace. He was horribly burned. When Nozomu died that night, I dare say that Sir Katsuragi may have committed malfeasance, but it was out of the goodness of his heart. Kinjiro hit the Nagamaki and Nozomu's writing in the arsenal. Nagamasa was harsh, but also right from the wrong. But even so, he's not amenable to reason. His name indicates one assumption with purity. Still, I aid some households in Tatarasuna have not been blinded by the matter of Nagamasa's mother's Chiyo, and we have trusted him. I also remain unwilling to forget the joy of creating the Daitatara Nagamasa with him, and the joy of watching that nameless eccentric perform the sword dance with Katsuragi. Before we withdrew, we should also have divided the arsenal key into 3 parts, one for the inspector, one for the armor officer, and one to be left in Tatarasuna itself to prevent theft. We also in too much of a hurry, and neither the inspector nor the armor officer could be found, so I was so bold as to hide the 3 pieces within treasure chests in Tatarasuna. 7 notes mentioned prior have been scattered across the Tatarasuna area. Among the 7 notes, 6 seems to be in good physical integrity, though they all look quite old, while the last one looks more recent. I believe the first 6 notes and last are different time periods, though the gulf in years between them needs to be verified. The contents of the first 6 should be also related to each other, as the incidents mentioned are quite consistent with one another. Rumi once mentioned in the Happily Hidden Tales of Tatarasuna. Rumi once mentioned Happily Hidden Tales of Inazuma, hereafter known as the Hidden Tales. In that of past, researchers from Sumeru had investigated the cultural histories of Tatarasuna and Inazuma, but the place had been fallen to some degree of disrepair since the Hidden Tales were written. Things have improved since the time I wrote my original article. Regardless, we have what was used to be an area of the ministry remains a place most inhospitable, and residents of Tatarasuna may only be found living and dwelling by the waters. The residents, the questions, told the researchers that Tatarasuna's golden age was centuries ago, when it was administered by the armor officer Niwa, vice army officer Miyazaki, and Inspector Mikoshi Nagamasa. Yet the elders among the locals with deep ties with the region also seemed to stress the fact that there were strange rumors surrounding their homeland's past. Many of these rumors involved around the yokai, who are also very characteristic of Inazuma's folk histories. A small portion, however, repeatedly mentioned the word puppet. It should also be known that puppets are neither traditional nor common yokai in Inazuma. This fact drew attention to the researchers to delve further, and eventually found the pieces of information came to light. A puppet did once appear in Tatarasuna. Its vision was elegant, its apparel impeccable, and the way it dressed hid all the joints and lines on his body. And if no one were to mention that it was indeed a puppet, it would not have been too hard to tell at all. Additionally, this puppet seemed to possess special joint lines that would fade in with time, potentially even disappearing altogether, which perhaps eventually makes the puppet seem entirely human. The name of this puppet was known to almost no one. Some folks claim to have spotted it appearing in Tatarasuna, while others mentioned encountering it in central regions of the area. Some even claimed that it would frequent the beach. Tales spread of it standing beside the sea and gazing across the waters towards Inazuma City. What it was that the puppet was gazing at remains a mystery. As mentioned earlier, the 6 notes all documented a certain nameless eccentric. The eccentric, which can also be read as Kabukimono, is usually used in Inazuma to refer to a figure who dresses and behaves in a peculiar manner. It is understandable, therefore, why this character would have left such an impression. Should the people of Tatarasuna indeed have a puppet in their midst incurring mass panic, a good possibility concerning the coexistence between yokai and humans in Inazuma at large, then the puppet will have very likely become a local resident. What is less well known is if the Kabukimono was just another title for this puppet. Perhaps it is because it was uniquely dressed to distract attention from its more special characteristics. A workable theory, but one that still lacks enough evidence to support it. Still, it can be restrained as an analytical lens of sorts. A list of individuals related to Tatarasuna have been compiled here based on historical documents from Inazuma. Starting from administrative officers, records are as follows. Armor Officer Niwa. Full name Niwa Hasahide. He was the inheritor of the Ishin art and successor to the Niwa clan. His family, along with the Akame and Kadehara clans, were together known as the Ishin Sansaku. Records show that Niwa has a modest and intelligent individual who displayed remarkable talent in the administration of territory and people. His eventual whereabouts are unknown, but he's suspected to have left Tatarasuna and his family following the incident. Vice Army Officer Miyazaki. His full name Miyazaki Kanio. He was Niwa's second in command. His origins are unknown. He primarily assisted Niwa's in forging personnel management. He was of affable temperament and has many friends in the region, including Mikoshi Nagamasa. Inspector Mikoshi Nagamasa, the successor of Mikoshi clan, adopted son to only warrior Mikoshi's Chiyo. Wait, Chiyo? Oh! Wait, no. Chiyo was Raiden's friend. That got corrupted by the abyss during the cataclysm. Right. I knew that sounded familiar. And the younger adopted brother to Mikoshi, Michihiro, also known as Iwaki the Successor. With his mother missing and abandoned by his brother, Nagamasa alone bore the family name, striving daily to wipe the shame from their history. The records state that Mikoshi Nagamasa was a stubborn figure. He was also noted to be a person of moral virtue and integrity. It has been noted in various records that he practiced forging swords in self-cultivation, and especially requested special instructions from Miyazaki to further his capabilities. However, after the famous blade Daitatara Nagamasa was forged, he used it to slay his subordinate Kasaragi for reasons unknown at present. Subordinate Kasaragi. Kasaragi's full name and background remains unknown. Despite all the materials I have sorted through, I have yet to find any more additional personal information regarding him. As one of Mikoshi Nagamasa's subordinates, he was a lower warrior who has been saved by Nagamasa in his youth. From then on, he swore to stick by his lord and through thick and thin and give his life in the service of it, if it was but asked of him. Kabukimono, full name unknown, background unknown. From the many sources I have compiled combining with Rumi's personal observations, this character might have been the puppet mentioned in the rumors. Kabukimono was a figure of fashion and grace and gentleness. According to the hidden tales, he was brought back to Tatarasuna by Kasaragi and became a member of the community. When the Kabukimono first arrived in Tatarasuna, he knew nothing of cleaning, cooking, or work of meticulous nature. The locals taught him their skills over time, showing him how to clean his attire, dance, and craft small trinkets. Records state that the Kabukimono was there when the Dottore Nagamasa was forged. Though his trail ends before Mikoshi Nagamasa slew Katsuragi, I believe that the Kabukimono was indeed the aforementioned puppet. He quite likely had in hand the Katsuragi's death. It seems that the rest of this paper remains unfinished. One thing's for sure, though. A lot of thought was put into it. Whew, that was a lot of reading.
Sawada was encouraging me to follow his more creative approach, but I think essays should be grounded in facts. I don't think explaining everything away with mysterious forces will cut it.
We have some other stuff to do, so we'll have to say goodbye for now. Good luck with your essay!
All right, thank you. If you find out any more info about all this, please do let me know. Thanks so much.
Very welcome.
Hey, so that thing they were talking about, it has to do with the Balladeer, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, then even if we did know something about it, we probably couldn't share it with them, huh?
Yeah, that should very well just be confidential.
After all, we kicked his butt and got him locked up. Information about people like that is usually super confidential, isn't
What I
it?
said.
Ah! Hey, did you see that? He literally just went by, over there. It looked like...
Oh. Hi. You're up and well.
The Balladeer! No, it can't have been. He got locked up. Oh, quick, let's catch up and see.
How has Auntie Nahida been treating you?
The wind rises.
The world's #1
Paimon,
cutie.
There you are. Nahida, bad news. We just saw the Balladeer strolling around in public.
I'm pretty sure she let him have a breath of fresh air.
Did he escape or... Ah, it's him!
Hi.
Sure enough, you're here.
God, this is gonna be so awkward. Hey, buddy.
Hey! What are you doing in the sanctuary of Sarasana? Aren't you supposed to be locked up?
Nahida isn't that type of person, so...
It was my idea to set the Balladeer free. We made a deal, and he's gonna do some investigation in Irminsul for me.
A deal? Huh. You sure you trust this guy?
What did you expect? Why do you think Sumeru would keep me around otherwise? Or maybe killing me is all you can think about.
Still haven't forgiven you for Tepe, by the way. I'm just saying. Or I guess technically Tepe can be blamed on Signora too.
Nahida said there's still some mysteries in you to figure out.
Ah, so if it were up to you, you'd finish the job? Guess I had you all wrong. There I was thinking you were just getting cold feet.
Well, that escalated quickly. Not a good start. Could I ask you all to please calm down?
Yeah, the tension is still there.
But I'm
Gonna take a while for us to...
Don't let him trick you.
It's not every day you see people questioning the God of Wisdom's judgment. Just when you think you've seen it all.
Don't you dare try to drive a wedge between us.
As long as the terms are reasonable, I don't think there's a problem in making a deal. Even with the Balladeer.
Well, I for one have no reason to doubt you. Considering you even struck a deal with the doctor.
Yes, one in which I gained valuable information.
That you didn't
You'll
share.
come to understand more about that in the fullness of time.
That you didn't share completely. You told us about the
Balladier's
descendants.
power was all but completely spent after your battle. He's no longer strong enough to be a strategic threat to us. That puts him in quite a precarious position. Plus, he's a former harbinger with knowledge of many of the Fatui's sensitive secrets. Being stuck here in Sumeru could make him a sitting duck, depending on how the Fatui plan to respond.
Wait a second. Farmer? You mean he's not a harbinger anymore?
I take no pleasure in saying this, but it seems as if the doctor had no intention of welcoming back a loser, so...
So he tossed you out like trash.
Sometimes it's you using them, other times it's them using you. Most human relationships are this way. Certainly all the stable ones are. That's how it was between me and the Fatui, and also between each of the harbingers. So as long as you have some value to offer, nobody will ever abandon you. But after recent events, even I have to admit that I'm not worth quite what I used to be.
Really? What a crying shame.
Well, if the Fatui are gonna reevaluate my utility, I need to have a backup plan for myself.
That backup plan is gaining an ANEW vision.
Today can be a trial run. Where we go from here will depend on how well we manage to cooperate today.
All right, then I'll do what we agreed.
Good. Go now, and keep in touch.
Nahida, are you serious about this?
Yes, I have my reasons for this decision. In fact, I'm largely doing it for your benefit.
For me?
Yes. As I told you once before, there's information about your twin in Irminsul. You may remember me mentioning that the Fatui had not included your twin's details in the Descender category. This is an extremely important point.
Because they're part of his world.
It's possible that the Fatui have other information that even I don't know about. And since the Balladeer used to be one of them,
right.
He'll be better acquainted
That's what I was
than
thinking.
am.
He should know more about the Descenders too. And that time where he came over to Mondstadt during the Unreconciled Stars event, it could be, I've seen this somewhere, it could be that he was investigating the possibility of another 5th Descender. I mean, people make the joke that Aloy is the 5th Descender, but like, you know, in actuality.
He was granted the power to connect with Irminsul when he almost became the god of a new era. Even though he no longer has the Gnosis, some traces of its power remain in him. He can still connect. The amount of information in Irminsul is vast beyond description. Sifting through all of it without knowing what to look for would take too long, even for me. So I asked the Balladeer to search in Irminsul for any information about the Descenders. He's more familiar with this kind of information.
I wonder if he's
and should be
gonna
able to find it more quickly.
discover more about his past as he does that. Like, the truth of all those incidents he believed to be betrayals. What if he lies to you?
Exactly! Or what if... Paimon just doesn't trust him! He's treated us as enemies every time we've run into him!
I understand. But sometimes, everything is dictated by which side you're on. Our minds have connected several times before. There is a corner of your heart reserved for an intense longing. A feeling of being all alone in the dark, searching for the one candle whose light still burns. As Sumeru's deity, it is my responsibility to be on guard against the Balladeer. But as someone who counts you as a friend, I want to do something for you. If this deal with the Balladeer can give you the answers you've been longing to find, then it's worth it.
Thank you, Nahida.
It's my pleasure, really. You're Sumeru's hero. You've more than earned it. In fact, I was going to ask you to supervise the Balladeer on my behalf while he carries out the task I assigned. Even though he only has a fraction of his full power left, that's still a fraction of a former Harbinger. If you could accompany him, it would put my mind at ease. Of course, I'll be there to help guide you through Irminsul from the outside.
Got it. I'm glad to be able to help.
Great. Thank you. Prepare yourselves. I'm going to transport you into Irminsul.
Oh.
Wow! It looks pretty different here compared to last time. The colors are gentler. Guess that must be because Sumeru's at peace now.
Look at that. Even the cubes are gone from there. Like, there were the Unknown Gods cubes on the top left corner there. Now it's all blossoming and it's healthy. Because there was never corruption to exist in the first place.
You know, you didn't have to cut your catch-up short just to keep me company. Oh, but I guess you panicked when you realized that I might enter Irminsul ahead of you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Nahida sent me to babysit you.
Shut your beak, jailbird! No way a prisoner gets to be so smug!
I understand that prisoners have to put up with harassment from the guards.
Smug is his middle
but right
name.
now, I'm on temporary release. So maybe you should think about backing off a little.
In a few moments, you'll be entering into the innermost region of Irminsul. It is an environment like no other, and the most important place in all of Sumeru.
Is that where the old tech-looking kind of tree is?
Unlike anywhere else,
There's another layer
Irminsul's
inside.
inner region consists exclusively of torrents of information.
Yeah, that's why it looks like a
You
literal
must put
like,
aside your
tech tree.
differences and be extremely careful as you navigate your way through. I know there are many grievances between you on both sides, but it is essential that you remain calm after entry. this is as much for your own safety as anything else.
Understood.
Let's cut each other a little slack, shall we? We are going to be traveling together after all. Per my agreement with Lesser Lord Kusanali, I'll be at the front. It's my job to lead the way and get rid of any obstacles in our path. All you have to do is keep your pretty eyes open and try not to fall behind.
You know, I think the only thing I wanted them to keep was this large, split veil behind his hat. That looks very cool.
If there are no further objections, I suggest we get going. Or did you need some time to mentally prepare yourselves?
Oh no, I'm well aware of what you're capable of.
We can start now.
Irminsul access granted. Initiating connection procedure.
Is this a small sapling? Oh, darn it! Come on, let's catch up with him. Wow. So this is the inside of Irminsul.
It's different than what I imagined.
Ooh. Paimon's never seen anything like this. And it
There's the tree.
feels like a sacred place.
It's literally looking like a circuit board.
Irminsul is closely intertwined with the entirety of Teyvat. Every bit of information flowing here means something. Pick your jaws up off the floor. It's time to go.
Why is it that Paimon just wants to do the opposite of everything he says?
Lesser Lord Kusanali, we will now proceed to the heart of Irminsul.
Can you still sense where the heart of Irminsul is?
Yes. Permission to begin searching for information there?
Permission granted. Go ahead.
Let's go. Stay close. Don't go running off.
Hey, so, say we did go running off in here. What would happen? What are you smirking at?
Hello. Oh. A materialized branch.
These sapling things have spread out.
The fragments have dissipated, but
Those are all packets of information from inside Irminsul. Be careful not to touch them.
why are we walking away now? Oh, is it a maze?
We're here.
What a huge tree!
This is the center of Irminsul, all the information in the world flowing through it.
Lesser Lord Kusanali,
Good, you made it. Are you ready?
ready when you are.
Then please begin. Preparing to access cognitive currents. Establishing waypoint.
We're traveling back towards a moment in history.
The Balladeer's actually doing what Nahida tells him. Guess he must want to stay alive.
He hasn't put up any resistance, and he seems good at working in the front line. Maybe he had a similar role in the Fatui. First Aqaba and Sawada stories, now this. What a strange individual.
The rest is up to you. If you discover anything at all, make sure to share it with us.
Will do.
Traveler, Paimon, would you like to talk?
Oh, well, you know. Nahida, is this telepathic conversation?
Yes. I've also invited Paimon to join.
Huh? What the? We can talk to each other inside our heads?
I'm guessing that you don't want to disturb the Balladeer.
That's part of it. Plus, we're all
This will be so
friends.
awkward if he can actually
There's
still
nothing
hear
wrong
us.
with us talking like this once in a while.
Yeah, you know, I don't mind a little bit of chit-chat in my head.
So, Paimon's been wanting to ask you something. Don't you think the Balladeer's a bit of a walking contradiction? He's always talking back, but he seems to listen to what you say.
I guess that is one of his built-in functions. That's his main purpose. Yes, and he seems to excel at doing odd jobs for others.
As I've told you before, there are still some mysteries for him to resolve. Things that are clear as day to me, but that he has yet to understand. Perhaps today will be the day that he finds some answers.
Is this about his past, the betrayals, and the other events in Inazuma?
Well done. Smart and attentive as always.
Actually, I've caught a glimpse of a few things when I ran into Hypatia in Party's DI. You relate to what you saw in the Balladeer's mind while in Party's DI.
So, you made contact with that part of his mind. Betrayal turned the Balladeer into the person he is today.
Huh. Paimon thought nothing could get under that guy's skin. Turns out, he can get hurt and angry just like anyone else.
Oh, he got hurt. A lot, even if it's through misunderstanding.
Everyone has a history, Paimon. even if you're a puppet created by the Electro Archon.
Speaking of puppets, we ran into two people at the Academia today talking about an essay. Turns out their topic was about the Tatarasuna Incident. Nahida, do you know anything about that?
If you mean the mysterious events, the Kabukimono and so on, yes. I know about all of that.
Yep, because it should be stored in here too.
Really? Because from what they were saying, it sounded like lots of Tatarasuna's history is still unexplained. And most of the information we have now is just from people filling the gaps with their imagination. At least that's what they thought.
You tell Nahida about the story Aqaba and Sawada are writing.
Oh? How interesting.
A long story, by the way,
Those two
Jesus
managed
Christ.
to deduce quite a lot through guesswork alone.
Must be a riveting conversation you three are having. Funny how all the good ones happen when I'm not involved.
Wait, did he dead ass know what we...
What makes you think we're talking to each other?
Don't insult me. You're having a private conversation without me. Obviously, I must be the topic of said conversation.
You have every right to keep certain things confidential.
Of course you do. You can't have your prisoner knowing too much.
So, have you found anything yet?
Still looking. Don't get your hopes up, though. You and your twin come from outside this world. It wouldn't surprise me if there was nothing on either of you in Irminsul at all.
Then why is he in this? Why is he recorded? Why?
Wait, how did you know about that? Did Nahida tell you?
It's not like we've never met before. And anyway, you're world famous. It'd be more surprising if I didn't know a few things about you.
Every conversation with you is hard work, but your attitude is better than I thought.
Right now, we have to keep the peace. I'm not interested in creating more misery for myself. And making cordial conversation is something I can manage.
Oh, the misery.
Huh? Wait.
There is something after all, isn't it? Isn't it?
This light. It looks similar to those saplings.
Looks bigger.
What could it be?
It's our height.
Anonymous data.
Anonymous
Mr. Niwa, are you certain this is worth the risk? We are talking about Tatarasuna's furnace, after all. It may not pay to act rashly.
There's no one else who can enter the furnace. It has to be me.
Is that so? Well, since you insist.
It's...
your past. That name, Niwa, was the man in charge of Tatarasuna, plus he belongs in the lineage of ancient art. That you tore down, by the way.
Whoa!
Oh, we got
I have been in
transported.
Tatarasuna for some time now. You have shown me great hospitality.
It's
As
him!
has Mikoshi Nagamasa, and indeed, everyone else.
His friend! It's the guy!
Under your leadership, Tatarasuna is a warm, welcoming place. Like a giant village. People are gainfully employed. Their lives have purpose. They are motivated. As I understand, the Raiden Shogun has, in recent years, eliminated much of the evil that plagued Inazuma. As for Tatarasuna, it was originally established as a means of safely disposing crystal marrow. The forging industry with crystal marrow as a raw material has since flourished, giving rise to generations of swordsmiths. Some world-renowned, others unknown, all passing on their legacy. Skills, blood, dreams. Every smith brought into this trade looks to find their purpose between steel and blade. That is why you accepted the proposal brought to you by myself and Akame.
Yes, well,
Niwa.
were it not for you coming to Inazuma and happening to make Akame's acquaintance, the two of you never would have joined forces, and he would be the first to admit that there's no way he could have revolutionized our forging process like this on his own, at least not on the same timescale. You allowed Akame to take all the credit for a method that you jointly developed. He sold it to me, and now every piece of ore here is smelted using the new technique.
In the trailer, we see Il Dottore in a similar setting to this. I have no idea how he would access the Irminsul information just like we did, because that would be the only way for us, like, for him to interact with the memory, like us where we are right now. We're not interacting, we're like looking at it. But him being present inside that environment means he's part of this. He's part of the memory all this time back. He's involved somehow.
Even now, you remain one of Tatarasuna's key consultants, working right here alongside us. I believe it is you, sir, who are truly responsible for the changes in our manufacturing and forging methods.
You flatter me. From the outset, I saw much that was commendable in the forging industry of Inazuma, and it has been my great honor to befriend you all.
So you say, Escher. But is this really the truth?
My good sir, what do you mean?
I tried to resist thinking it was all connected, because I didn't want to speculate, and I didn't want to believe that things could turn out this way. What have we gained from adopting your new technology? Ominous black smoke, mounting production problems, worker fatigue and casualties are up and continuing to rise at an alarming rate. And recently, as you well know, someone died because of that strange filth inside the furnace.
Right.
We've kept the truth from spreading outside, but still, I suspect you understand it better than I do. None of the people who went out to get help have come back. Now, our mutual friend, the Kabukimono, is taking the Golden Feather to Narukami Island to seek an audience with Shogun. This is our last hope.
Ah, this is after they let all the ships have
But that doesn't faze you, does it, Escher? Nothing does. Otherwise, why would you still be standing there with that smile on your face?
Oh.
I'm just surprised that you finally chose to be so sincere. I'm sure you've been harboring these suspicions for quite some time.
Mikoshi Nagamasa may have noticed that there was one common denominator among all these events. Namely you, Escher. But Mr. Mikoshi is more cautious than I. He does things by the book.
Shit, I'm out of coffee.
After all, Nagamasa is the adopted son of Mikoshi Torachiyo, the yokai struck down by the Shogun's own hand. If he truly seeks to redeem his family's honor, an abundance of caution is well advised.
Who are you?
You're well informed on the subtleties of his situation for a mechanic all the way from Fontaine. Are you sure you're not a little overqualified?
Why, Mr. Niwa, are you suggesting I find a job as a diplomat? Sadly, I am so very attached to my craft.
The Fatui do call themselves diplomats.
Enough, Escher. I'm here because an evil force is raging inside the furnace. And someone needs to take your new device inside the high-risk zone so we can absorb it and put an end to the problem. I'm in charge here, and I'm about to take some responsibility and head inside, probably to my death. But what about you? What are you still doing here?
Judging from the look in your eyes, you don't seem to trust me.
You think?
Drop the act. We're past that now, whoever you are. It looks like your plan to destroy Tatarasuna has worked. I just want to know what you're still doing here. What's left? Don't you have all your answers by now?
Honestly, I'm just waiting for the right moment. A moment like this, where you finish talking and I stop you from entering the furnace.
You...
You're a little smarter than I initially gave you credit for.
That's how death came to his second friend.
I thought I'd disguise myself exceptionally
His first friend,
well,
actually.
At least for the first few days. But to my surprise, you had your people look into my background right from the start. It's a long journey from Inazuma to Fontaine, but that didn't stop them. Eventually, they managed to confirm that Escher was an alias, and that I was not from Fontaine at all. And yet, despite all of that, you still fail to realize my true identity and what I seek in Tatarasuna.
Did you really think you would be able to see through my plan?
The doctor.
If you kill me, there's no one who can get inside the furnace. So you're really going to destroy this place? Is that it?
Oh, but you're quite wrong. There is one other person. Some may not see him as a person, but you told him yourself. You're not a puppet. You're a human. You're just missing a heart.
Oh my god, is everything... Did he actually orchestrate everything just to turn him into Scar?
Whoever you're working for won't get away with this. They'll be found out. But this makes no sense. What are you really trying to accomplish by all this? Why go to all this trouble?
To create a new harbinger. A dog to do their bidding.
It's no trouble at all. Patience is a virtue which I have in abundance. This is all part of a carefully controlled experiment. If you must know, I'm happy to divulge my true identity. I'm a Fatui harbinger. Call me the Doctor.
Fuck. Was his whole life an experiment?
The Fatui? Who? What do you want?
Just to create a minor inconvenience for your nation.
That's it? That's why you gave us your cursed technology? Just to let loose the evil energy from the crystal marrow?
Great voice acting, by the way. Sorry, I just had to compliment that.
Look how even the righteous soul is filled with venom when faced with its demise.
No, it's hatred, Dottore. And he has a right to hate you right now.
You say, it is the only chance you have of preventing a catastrophe and keeping the truth from the outside world. However, I did not make it with you in mind. It is easier for a person to be possessed by evil spirits when they are filled with hate. So give in to your fury. I want to see what happens when a malevolent heart is placed into an unsuspecting puppet. Make no mistake, even without you, that pure, innocent puppet would only end up being used by someone else instead. What other reason would a human have for befriending one who is not of our kind?
What's so bad about them living together in harmony? Of course you can't see that, you're fucking psycho. Oh, he's not. Oh,
if you give him my heart, tell him that both Nagamasa and I see him as one of us.
You really think he would?
He has nothing to prove to anyone. Because not everyone just wants to use other people. The only ones who think like that are people like you.
What a beautiful way to see the world. It almost makes me feel a little guilty. Then out of respect for you, I shall redefine myself. Think of me as a monster or a demon, if you wish. At least this way your death is not a consequence of your own folly turning you into an easy target. You simply lost to something more powerful than you could ever hope to defeat.
Fuck.
I say, Mr. Niwa, let's see what happens. Will your puppet friend become a human? No, that will prove quite impossible. Mr. Niwa? Already dead. What a pity.
It's really rare for a fictional character want to make me punch them through the screen virtually, but you know, I want to keep my computer safe. How did you manage to...
Jester, I have completed the task you gave me, creating a gap and infiltrating Inazuma's inner workings. What fun it was. I'd like to introduce a puppet to you. If he proves useful, let's make him our newest comrade. And if not, let's turn him to dust.
You never did know that part, did you?
Hey, are you alright?
Dottore? Dottore!
Yo. Jesus, hold it together.
Good. Good.
Was that the doctor? Did he turn into a mechanic from Fontaine?
I'm afraid so. He was the one behind the Tatarasuna Incident.
But why things from his perspective.
When I touched the doctor to confirm whether he'd eliminated all his segments, I read this memory in his mind. You have to admit, it must be the truth.
Maybe so, but it means nothing.
Does it?
Does it?
But this memory shows that Niwa didn't betray you. He never meant for you to be the one to take the device into the furnace.
We're here to clear up all the misunderstandings, isn't it?
You know very well what that means. Even more so than I.
This betrayal was a lie that he believed for hundreds of years. Was this the part of the doctor's experiment? If the betrayal never happened, it existed only in his imagination. But where does this leave him?
Let's give him some space. He looks really mad. Paimon doesn't want to be anywhere near him right now.
Okay, let's go over there.
We need to give him some time to process his emotions.
What he knew for hundreds of years was just fabrication.
So now you have the complete picture. Katsuragi took the Kabukimono to live with the people of Tatarasuna. Later, the doctor showed up, disguised as a mechanic from Fontaine. And that's when the trouble began. It was all a horrific experiment planned by the doctor. Everything he did was just to plant seeds of disaster in Inazuma that would bear fruit in the future. Of all the unwitting participants in the doctor's experiment, the Balladeer became the main test subject.
He turned into the main subject. The original experiments wasn't planning on this.
After the events you just saw in that memory, the doctor put Niwa's heart into the device and handed it to the Balladeer. Then, he instructed him to enter the furnace and absorb all the filth caused by the smelting process. The load was far beyond what he expected, but the Balladeer survived. He left the furnace in sheer exhaustion and said to the mechanic, "This device seems to have protected me. What's in it?" The mechanic answered, "Niwa fled this place for fear of punishment, but he left you a gift. He said it's the one thing that you've been looking for." He took it straight from the chest of one of his innocent servants. The mechanic removed the withered heart from the device as he spoke. The Balladeer was stunned that such unthinkable cruelty had brought him the thing he'd been longing for his entire life. A heart acquired through cold-blooded murder is a cursed thing, but it had protected him from the filth. He thought Niwa had completely betrayed him, and yet this very betrayal had ensured his survival. Overwhelmed with anger and sorrow, the Balladeer threw the heart to the ground and left Tatarasuna without looking back.
Holy moly! So the doctor killed an innocent man and pinned everything on the victim? That's terrible.
Being betrayed and abandoned by a close friend is sure to cause great resentment. Now we know what was behind his decision to take revenge on the Raiden Gokaden 100 years ago. But it doesn't mean that vengeance was the right decision.
Yes. Only if he understands this can he choose a new path forward.
Dottore, you brazen-faced... Niwa didn't run from justice. You killed him.
A while later...
Shall we see how he's doing? Hey, you alright?
I'm guessing no.
Are you worried about me? If we didn't have such a history, I'd almost think that qualifies me to be your friend.
We just want to make sure this doesn't affect the plan.
It won't. I'll keep my end of the deal.
Hey, are you investigating the stuff we want to know about?
That's why we're here. But unfortunately, there's no information about the Descenders in Irminsul.
Even if you can't find anything, that seems to confirm it. Irminsul does not keep records on the Descenders. Anyone who comes from beyond this world is not counted as part of Teyvat.
Not expected, but still, thank you.
Don't thank me just yet. You look really upset. Well, since Irminsul was a dead end, I guess I can share some other info that might interest you. The reason why there are records about your brother in Irminsul. It might have something to do with Conria. Apparently, Conria was his first destination when he arrived in this world. Plus, he only came to this world because the heavens responded to the summoning.
Oh, you mean he got gachapoled?
The Jester told me this himself. You can take his word on this. He was a royal mage in Conria. and lived with your brother for a time.
The Jester, another Fatui Harbinger. Why?
I don't know the details. It's up to you whether you want to believe me. All I can say is, I wouldn't lie to you about this. Did you get all that, Lesser Lord Kusanali?
Yes. Astonishing news.
Good. In that case, I'll take some time for myself now.
Huh? What have you done?
What are you doing?
Lesser Lord Kusanali was right. My power's all but completely spent. Even if I use all of the divine power left in me, I can't sustain this shield for very long. I shared a secret with you, and now you owe me. So in return, I'd like you to answer a question for me.
What do you want to know?
Give me your hand.
My hand?
Can you hear my voice inside your head?
Yeah, I can. Are you trying to brainwash me?
No, I can't do anything like that anymore. At most, all I can do is exchange a few words with you. So tell me, in this world, is it possible to change the past?
Oh. I mean, it is. We just did that. Are you gonna do what I think you're gonna do? Wait, why would you ask that?
Done.
Huh? What the? What happened? Paimon only saw you hold hands for a second.
Nothing. I was just thanking her for helping me.
Wait, that look, does he see me hesitate? But that was because I know about Great Lord Rukadevata. Oh, I think by not...
So long. I suggest you get yourselves out of here quickly.
What are you doing?
Going? Hey, wait up! Didn't you say not to go running off?
Balladeer, stop him. We have to stop him.
Fast reaction time. But I don't think we'll be seeing each other again.
What are you doing?
From this day forth, the names Balladeer and Kabukimono will cease to exist. Those who died in Tatarasuna because of me deserve another chance at life.
What are you doing? Is he going to prevent it?
Don't do anything stupid!
You know, I never did like insects. Hordes of the puny things swarming together can be a real nuisance. And I enjoy nothing more than to stamp them out like the pests they are.
Fucking with time is not a good idea. That's always how it's been in movies and TV shows.
But if a colony of harmless ants isn't threatening anyone, I guess they deserve to be left alone. Luckily, everything can be set right. It's time to solve this once and for all.
Balladeer! Balladeer! Uh-oh, he disappeared. Come on, we gotta find him somehow.
How do we even find him?
Oh, can you hear me?
Nahida!
Traveler, Paimon, Balladeer, what happened just now? I was suddenly cut off by some kind of power.
It was the Balladeer's fault. He shut you out.
Tell Nahida everything that happened.
I didn't think he'd be capable of something like that with so little power left.
That's all he needed.
Did he keep some of his power hidden when he was defeated? Or did he achieve something beyond his abilities, and it took everything he had?
Where the heck did he go? Ugh, it's all our fault. We were supposed to keep an eye on him. Sorry, Nahida.
Don't be. It's not your fault. Please, let me handle this from here, even though I'm not sure I can solve it. We're running out of time. Follow my lead and get out of Irminsul as soon as possible.
We're out! And we're at, an inn or something?
This is an emergency. I'll have to ask you to stay here for now. Everything's arranged,
this is Dunya's,
and nobody will disturb you. If my assessment is correct, though there may be some minor disturbances, it won't lead to a disaster. Please rest and recover your strength here until I say it's safe.
Her voice has gone. Paimon can't shake the feeling that something really big has happened. What do you think the Balladeer meant? And why did he suddenly grab onto you before?
He's going to go and change the course of history. Paimon doesn't remember Greater Lord Rukadevata, and the Balladeer's questions was a strange one. It's hard to explain in full, but the truth might be very distressing for Paimon. I'll skip the part about Greater Lord Rukadevata for now. Tell Paimon what the Balladeer asked you and what he might have been planning.
He wants to change the past? But surely that's impossible!
It's not easy, that's for sure.
Right! You can't just rewrite history! All that stuff happened already in real life!
Paimon, are you okay?
Sorry. Paimon accidentally... It's the Balladier's fault for causing Paimon all this mental stress. But erasing yourself from history? It's unthinkable. Is that really possible in Irminsul?
Not necessarily, but maybe. I'm just guessing here.
There's no way he'll actually succeed, right? Otherwise, won't everyone who's connected to him be affected too?
Indeed, if the Balladeer does erase himself from Irminsul, many people in Inazuma will be affected. I can't imagine what that situation would look like. Worst case scenario, it will affect everyone with a connection to the Raiden Gokaden. Kaza, Ayaka, Ayato, will this mean they'll disappear? Right. He never existed, the Raiden, the Ishin, all those clans never fall, and so many events in history will be different because of that. That's too big of a change.
How about, we list all our favorite foods to take our mind off things? Heck, if that doesn't work, Paimon's probably gonna collapse of anxiety here.
And if the clan never falls, Ayaka and Ayato, they would have never needed to be all stressed about running the clan, because since their parents, I think, passed away, it was all down to them too.
Alright, Paimon will start. First dish. Munstack grilled fish. Oh, and chicken mushroom skewers. Tea break pancakes, cream stew, sauteed matsutake, and Dragon chili chicken, almond tofu, satisfying salad.
Adeptus Temptation?
Also Adeptus Temptation, golden shrimp balls, triple layered consomme, lotus seed and bird egg soup, and...
What's up? What? Very close up of her. What is happening? Paimon, what's wrong?
What was Paimon supposed to be doing just now? Paimon was, talking? Huh. Paimon suddenly can't remember what she was talking about. What was it again?
Oh, did it happen already? You were getting so worried about the situation with the Balladeer that you started listing food.
The Balladeer?
He's done it already?
Is that a food too? Huh. Weird name though.
No, not again. Oh my fucking god. And there's already a world scale memory wipe event. Oh shit, what? Inazuma. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Me too, Lumine. Me too. Paimon doesn't remember the Balladeer. That must mean he actually pulled it off. No, Tinari! But how did he have that ability? That doesn't make any sense.
What's wrong? Your eyes are like saucers. Was it something Paimon said? So, the Balladeer. Is that someone's name? 'Cause it sounds like a nickname or something.
This is really happening. I need to know what else has changed. Paimon, come with me. I want to go back to Inazuma. Huh? Yes!
Fine by Paimon, but is everything okay?
No.
You're acting like this is an emergency.
Now's not the time to explain. Let's go get over there first. If he never existed, then who's the one that pulls off all the distribution for the delusions in Inazuma during the Inazuma arc? That means that whole arc changes too. Oh, you are shitting me right now. Right, the smithy.
We've made it! The ANEW smithy!
Ah, it's been a while.
About the Raiden Gokaden, could you tell me the story one more time?
No. Now there's a question I wasn't expecting. Very well. I'll tell you what I know once more. The once renowned Raiden Gokaden, comprised of 5 branches: Amenoma, Futsu, Ishin, Hyakume, and Senju. The art of forging practiced by these 5 clans was first taught to them personally by the almighty Shogun. Over time, the 5 branches diverged from one another as generations of bladesmiths honed and perfected their craft until they became 5 distinct traditions. Most of the great swordsmith clans of old have since fallen into decline, and for a long time, only the Amenoma branch kept its art alive. But fortunately, Kaede Harakazuha recently returned to Inazuma and took up the mantle of the Ishin art. Now, 2 clans remain. Of the original Gokaden 5, you yourself were present when he forged the Ishin blade.
Oh yeah, we were! Paimon remembers that now. We learned a bit about the decline of the Raiden Gokaden then too. It seems like such a shame.
What was the reason behind their decline?
That, my friends, is a tragic tale indeed.
So, they still fall.
There is no harm in telling you, but I must warn you. It is a dark and sorrowful tale. The Raiden Gokaden were the targets of a murderous rampage by a vengeful bladesmith.
Vengeful? Why?
400 years ago, so I'm told, there was a catastrophic malfunction in Tatarasuna's furnace. One brave swordsmith heard the commotion and chose not to flee, but he rushed to the scene, hoping to prevent a disaster. Tatarasuna was home to a state-of-the-art forging and smelting operation in that day, and overseeing it was the armory officer. His surname was Niwa, though he had family ties to the Kaedehara clan. Knowing that they had just one chance to save countless lives, Mr. Niwa and the swordsmith leaped together into the furnace. The furnace quickly stabilized, but neither of them made it out.
And since Scaramouche was never there, he never...
The smith's death, though heroic, dealt a devastating blow to his family's fortunes. His orphaned son was left to fend for himself, and grew up deeply resentful at the world. In his heart, the whole of Inazuma was culpable in his tragedy. He hated the almighty shogun for her apparent indifference towards his father's death, and he hated everyone who had done nothing to try and save him. Powerless and destitute, the only legacy he had to pass on to his children was his hatred. Generation after generation bore this grudge, living in utter misery.
This is just as bad.
Alas, if only the story could have ended there. But 100 years ago, the then head of this family reached the end of his wits. He could bear their fate no longer, and yet he could do nothing to change it. Finally, he made a drastic decision to take revenge on the Raiden Gokaden. In doing so, he sought to vent his pent anger and shake the very foundations of Inazuma's forging industry. In his fury, he murdered indiscriminately, killing even bladesmiths from the Hyakume clan, which he belonged to. His goal was absolute, the devastation of all of the Raiden Gokaden.
So instead of Scaramouche, this time it's...
But when he came to the Kaedehara and Kamisato clans, his killing spree came to an abrupt end. He failed to catch them unawares. They fought back fiercely, and they did not spare his life. That is why the Kaedehara clan and their Ishin art survived that day. I suppose they were the lucky ones, under the dire circumstances.
The legend of the Raiden Gokaden has changed. Someone else attacked the swordsmiths. It looks like the Balladeer did something in Irminsul, but it seems Niwa still died.
Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
I feel like there's certain points in time that can't be changed regardless. There's set points. Have you seen Kazuha recently?
Kazuha? Why, yes. Just yesterday, in fact. We spoke for a while over some tea. He seemed well.
Phew. So he still exists. He's the same Kazuha I know. The things don't seem as bad as I feared last night. That's all, thank you very much.
On to the next stop! Lead the way, traveler! Paimon will be right behind you!
The Kamisato estate. Are their parents still alive?
We're here! This is the Yashiro Commission's headquarters, so...
Traveler, it's been a while.
Hello.
If you're looking for the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I'm afraid your timing is unfortunate. They're not here right now.
Are they out on business?
The Commissioner is out on business, and Miss Kamisato is standing in for some meetings in the Commissioner's place. If it's urgent, you're welcome to wait inside until they get back.
Can we take a walk in the courtyard?
If it were anyone else, I couldn't allow it. But seeing as you're so close with the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I think it should be okay.
We'll be heading in then. Thanks!
Hello, dears. Is there something you want to say?
Ma'am, can I ask you a couple of questions?
Of course, traveler. Yes, I know who you are. Miss Kamisato has told me about you. What would you like to know?
How are the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato these days?
Oh, they're both very well indeed. Lately, Miss Kamisato has been rather busy attending all kinds of meetings and occasionally paying visits to some local organizations on the Commissioner's behalf. As for the Commissioner himself, well, you know, busy as ever. That much hasn't changed. Although he does seem to be in a rather good mood these days.
Ayato is still the Yashiro Commissioner. Ayaka is still the lady of the house. No changes there. As far as I can see, nothing has changed in the Yashiro Commission either. I was expecting as much, but it's still a big relief to know the Kamisato siblings are both safe and well.
Well, got any more questions?
That's all for now. Many thanks.
You're very welcome. In fact, I would love nothing more than for you to come and visit more often. But I'm sure you must be far too busy to have time for that. Miss Kamisato talks about you all the time. She seems so thrilled to have you as a friend, and she's always saying how talented you are.
Thank you, Ayaka from this timeline. I don't think their parents made it in the end after all.
It's been many years now since the late Mr. and Mrs. Kamisato passed away. Much has happened in the Kamisato clan in that time.
Alright, goodbye for now. Where are we going next? Great! Goodbye, ma'am! Don't worry, we'll see ourselves out.
All right then. Take care now. Hope to see you soon.
Do my eyes deceive me, or is that the Traveler and Paimon?
Hi.
Xavier? What are you doing here?
I was in the general area, and now I'm in this specific area. There, that's me. So what about you two?
We have some questions and thought you might be able to help.
Do you know much about Tatarasuna?
Certainly do. I've researched the furnace here in some depth. If there's anything you want to know, just ask away.
How well do you understand the history of this area?
Like the back of my hand. Make no mistake, I have been here a good many times before. Not only that, but I've met people in Inazuma whose families used to live in Tatarasuna years ago. They said it's all true, the history here.
Go on, I'm listening.
I'm told that its history is one of the most foremost forging and smelting operations in the nation. Goes back around 1,000 years. Still, the furnace has had a couple of serious maintenance issues along the way.
A couple? When exactly?
One was just in the last few years, the other was several hundred years ago. A fun fact, I'm not the first Fontaine tech guy to come and work on it either.
Sure.
There was a guy back then too. They say he was a mechanic who consulted on a technology upgrade. It seems like the technological collaboration between our two nations goes back a long way. How about that?
So Dottore still shows up. Mechanic, huh? Looks like the doctor still sabotaged the furnace, leading to all the ensuing chaos.
Hey, weren't you gonna ask Xavier something about Tatarasuna? Come on, ask already.
I am.
What brought this on? Did you just wake up today with a sudden burning desire for historical knowledge?
Pretty much, so can I ask one more thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Have you ever heard of a Kabukimono connected to the Tatarasuna?
A Kabukimono? No, I can't say that I have. I do know the word, Inazuman for those eccentric types who always go around dressed to the nines. Just the sort of person that I'd like to meet, actually. But sadly, I've never had the pleasure, nor have I come across anything to do with a Kabukimono where Tatarasuna is concerned.
So there's no more Kabukimono. Did the Balladeer really manage to erase himself from history completely? So if so, he must have wanted to change the world and revert everything back to the way it was. But so far, it looks like the majority of changes have only affected himself. Thank you, Xavier.
Of course!
Xavier.
Don't mention it.
I did hope this,
Looks like you got all the information you're looking for.
It was more of us going to search for these info rather than, like, people delivering that info to us of every location we go to, but it's alright. Wait, right, but then how does the whole arc of Sumeru end? Or happen?
Keep your smile, Spinal Crocodile. No matter what happens, Paimon will always be there for you.
Alright, thank you, Paimon.
Hey, don't mention it. Alright, let's head off and go meet Nahida.
So how does that the whole conflict of Sumeru was because Scaramouche was being built into an Archon. If that never happens, what then?
Oh. Hey, it's them!
Oh god, don't make me read two long papers again.
Aqaba! Sawada! You're still here?
Perfect. These two have researched Tatarasuna's past. Let's hear what they have to say.
Unfortunately, we haven't made any real progress.
The article that you let me read last time was great. Can I read it again? A great many of these rumors revolved around the yokai, who are very so characteristic of Inazuma's folklore. A small portion, however, repeated mention of the world outsider. It should have been known that the appearance of such a character was suspected to be based on a real person. It was a very curious case. This fact drew the attention of the researcher to delve further. Eventually, the following pieces of information came to light. A foreign mechanic once visited Tatarasuna. Reportedly, the reason for his immigration was to exchange information and forge ties with locals. However, the mechanic seemed to have behaved suspiciously, often wandering around the essential restricted areas, and if someone tried to turn him away, they would only earn incomprehensible mumbles from his lips. The mechanic often stared into the furnace, seemingly to check in his condition. Unsettling, he also spent a substantial amount of time watching the local residents. Judging from the era, it was not uncommon to see cross-cultural exchanges from technological knowledge in the places such as Tatarasuna. After traveling across the tides, the foreign experts are welcome. The calamity came not long after the exchange. There is a high potential causation between these events. However, some current residents believe that these assumptions were merely the result of forebears' overactive imaginations attempting to theorize how things actually unfolded. In place of Kabukimono, instead, it's Dottore that was mentioned more in this paper now. The mechanic. Long have I delved into many texts and documents, but I was ultimately unable to decipher even a specter of clue on his background. Still, mentions of mechanic grew scarcer in the aftermath of the Tatarasuna Incident. I speculate that instead of a mechanic possibly being a figure woven from overripe imagination, he actually did exist, and perhaps even had a hand in these events that took place in Tatarasuna.
I presume you'll want to read mine as well. Here.
Miyazaki hid his grin. Upon hearing this, Neon released the lizard from his hand into Katsuhagi's palm. But just as more words were about to be exchanged, someone came walking nearby. The footsteps steady and confident. The head that appeared in the door was one from abroad. The newcomer placed some lunchboxes into the side and now let the maid leave. Katsuhagi done for him. Sir, what about you, man? Are you not hungry? The man smiled upon hearing Katsuhagi's word. I already ate. I hope that you, my lords, may also find the time to sate your hunger. You're a guest, sir. To help you in these trifling matters fills me with embarrassment. The man said with sincerity. The man smiled as if it was no matter. Then, with a nod, he departed. With a falling spear, the black clouds reached the bottom of the boat. It was joined in direction. Like a charging beast, they plunged into the shoreline. Scant steps away, the mechanic laughed, slowly approaching the grand wreck. Not but half an arm was left of the one who cried out help, and with a plop it landed near the mechanic's feet, who crouched to better study the object, straining against the urge to take a bite. Both of them wanted to take it. Bro, you guys are weird. Yet he did not, for the dark clouds swarming down had already picked the remnants of the ship clean. The second ship was sent, followed by a third and a fourth. Each were left to see the salvation did so under the foul skies and bleak fortunes. The reason dictated that they should not have risked anyone else, but in the situation in Tatarasuna was severe. They needed to gain aid from Inazuma, even should it be the cost of more lives. The contents has changed, another effect of tampering with the information on the Irminsul. The Balladeer said he'd erased 2 of his names. If he really succeeded, it must have taken all his might, but still.
Well, what do you think?
A masterpiece! You tell the 2 writers what you learned about the Raiden Gokaden and Tatarasuna's history.
Wow, so many new details. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Well, well, so it all comes down to one man's desire for revenge. Huh. You heard this from a member of the ANEW clan, you say? Then I guess it must be true. Ugh. So there's no ghost story here after all.
This new information actually lends further credence to my hypothesis. Evidently, swordsmiths were seen as having an incredibly prestigious role in society those days, to the extent that harming them was conceived of, at least by the perpetrator, as a way of exacting revenge against those in power.
Yes, okay, point taken, you were right. But that doesn't mean I can't carry on with my novel.
And they're back at it.
Let's leave them to it.
These guys are really into this.
We've got some things to take care of. Bye for now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Look at us, prattling on about our projects and ignoring you. Thank you so much for the information.
You're
keep us in the loop if you find out anything else.
Will do.
Hey, Nahida.
Nahida, we're here!
Traveler, Paimon, how have you been?
Ugh, where to start? Paimon hasn't had a moment's rest this whole time. That night, we ended up chatting and chatting until suddenly the sun was up. And then she decided she wanted to go to Inazuma.
I was investigating the situation with the Balladeer.
The Balladeer? This sounds like some kind of code name.
Even though he doesn't remember, just like last time, any changes to the Irminsul affects her as well. The Balladeer acted quickly. He finished erasing himself before Nahida could stop him. I'm the only one who still remembers the things that were erased. Once again, I'm the record keeper.
Traveler?
Hey, what's wrong? You look so upset.
There are things that have happened that only I can remember. I have to tell you the truth. The heavy-hearted piece back together the story that was broken and scattered across time. There was once one named the Balladeer, created by the Sumeru Archon. He was a puppet who lived among men. After the series of events in Tatarasuna, the Balladeer, thinking that he had been thrice betrayed, left Inazuma to roam the world beyond. With no trust for humans and only loathing for the gods, he bore his grudge for years as he grew in strength, then returned to Inazuma to take his revenge. He tried in vain to become a deity with a gnosis and ended up losing everything. Finally, he entered Irminsul and learned the truth behind his betrayal. Knowing now that his entire life was built on lies, he did the unthinkable in an attempt to reverse his tragic fate.
That's quite a story. So, this puppet known as the Balladeer erased himself from Irminsul, hoping that he could change the past.
How was he even able to do that?
As the traveler said, he very nearly became Sumeru's deity. Admittedly, I remember it a little differently. I don't recall finding anyone inside the machine after we defeated it.
Oh, so there was still a boss, but no one's operating it. It was just a robot.
Nevertheless, it does make sense. If someone were to successfully erase themselves from Irminsul, the world would change to reflect the new reality.
So, you believe this person really existed, and we just don't remember him because he literally changed the world?
Yes. Theoretically speaking, it is possible to do this, but I'm struggling to imagine the kind of person who would dare go through with it. The traveler comes from a world beyond to that. That's why there's no information about her in Irminsul, and it also explains why any changes to Irminsul wouldn't affect her. So if there's anyone in the world capable of retaining memories from a past that has been rewritten, it's you. It's quite incredible when you think about it.
You can say that again. We were enemies after all. I don't know his perspective on all this, so I can't say he did something so extreme. So I can't say why he did something so extreme. Did he want to reset everything, or save someone, or did he want to completely undo his existence? Everything can be set straight. It is time to resolve this once and for all. Maybe that's all there is to it. Let's remember the question he asked. He asked me specifically. My hesitation gave him his answer. I hesitated because I witnessed Greater Lord Rukkhadevata erase her own existence, but I can't tell Nahida that. To put it another way, I know why Balladeer was so sure it could work, but I can't tell them that.
Something else worrying you? Something that you can't share?
I just feel empty. He chose such a radical option, and yet...
It couldn't change the fate of the ones who had died, right? Once the Balladeer realized he hadn't been betrayed after all, it must have completely changed his view of the people of Tatarasuna. Now he saw them as friends again. He couldn't keep hating humans after that. And if he thought there was a chance he could save his old friends, it would be hard not to try. The story makes sense. Every part of it. The Balladeer tried to achieve godhood with the doctor's help. He was unsuccessful, but retained the power to connect with Irminsul. That power then enabled him to change what was recorded in Irminsul and erase himself, even though he didn't have much strength left.
Yeah, it does make sense, but it still ended in tragedy for his friends. It just feels so hopeless. He gave everything to do this, but it seems like he got nothing in return.
Yeah, he changed the world in many ways, and yet his deeds still didn't get a second chance. Those fated to those fated to a tragic end could not be saved. What exactly did he want to fight back against? His betrayal in his life? Or did he wish he'd never existed at all?
Please wait a moment. I want to check something. Found it. This should be the one.
What? What's that?
It turns out that I have a strange way of confirming everything she has told us.
A strange way?
What is it?
A record from a personal collection. It was tucked away in a corner. You should take a look.
Surprisingly, the information is presented to you in a way that resembles a fairy tale.
I authored this record myself.
Huh? You wrote a fairy tale that somehow has something to do with the Balladeer?
What?
When combined with the traveler's narrative, it's clear that this story is an allegory. Everything in it is a symbol for something else.
Hold on. So this record survived from the past?
Yes. Any information about the Balladeer or the Kabukimono and other records will have been changed. But I wrote this story in a way that means it was left intact.
Wait, and she didn't do this for greater well, actually she didn't know about that part, so...
Changing the information in Irminsul changes to that. But Irminsul can't change information that was well hidden in advance. I guess I must have written this story as a backup before the Balladeer entered Irminsul.
If they write it in a way that's... Okay, so if it's fiction, if it's like written in the style of a tale, so this kind of record is immune to change.
If we connect all the different pieces together, the true story that emerges is the one she told us. The now erased life of the Balladeer. There was once a lone monster draped in fox fur. The monster found a family of foxes, joined them, and they became friends.
A metaphor.
The monster lived with the family day and night, and everyone treated it as one of their own. Once in a while, the monster would take off its fox fur at night and lament to itself as it gazed at its reflection in the water. I am a monstrosity, yet they are too foolish to see it. I pity them. But the monster soon found solace when another came to live among the foxes who was not their kin. A kitten, carved from the wood of a white tree, who had been abandoned by the humans. The kitten too wished to become a fox, but its tail was too slender, and it could not grow a coat of richly colored fur. Yet when the other foxes saw this, they spoke words of comfort to the kitten. Even without a tail and fur like ours, you are still one of us. Furious at this happy resolution, the monster lit a fire on the mountain. The terrified animals panicked as the fire spread. The only way to extinguish the flames was to make a sacrifice. A gray fox stood up and addressed the monster. It said, "You are the cleverest among us. Surely you can help us find a way to solve this." The monster smiled, led the fox toward the fire, and murdered it. The gray fox's heart was turned into a beautiful drop of water, clear, spotless, and pure.
Very violent for a fairy tale. He got donated.
The monster gave the heart of water to the kitten, telling him, "The foxes have decided. You are the one who must be sacrificed. Take this, quench the flames, and die for your fox kin."
Yeah, don't buy this for your kids, guys. Jesus Christ.
The fire was extinguished, but the kitten lived. It left that side of the mountain and found a little bird who had a broken wing. The two promised they would spend their whole lives together, but the little bird did not have long left to live.
That's the kid.
It passed away soon after. After burying the bird, the kitten left the mountain.
I just realized the cat has the feather.
Never again would it cherish a single creature, nor a single blade of grass that stood on that mountain.
It even has the eye markings.
The kitten spent the nights wandering aimlessly, gnashing its teeth at the moon. How it wished to swallow the moon and devour the moonlight. If the world could only return to darkness, then it would finally be peaceful and content. I will become the new moon, the answer to everything. Then, no one will know that there were once birds, foxes, and cats in this world. And no one can know that they were different.
Huh.
We solved it!
I remember now. This is not just the Balladeer story. It is his very own memories. I made a backup so that it would be preserved no matter what happened. To become a god, he was experimented on and modified countless times. It was brutal torture, and the only reason he was able to survive is that he was a puppet. This memory was extracted from him by the scholars. Presumably, they kept it to have something to defend themselves with. Creating a deity was just the first step. Some of them wanted to be able to control it. That's why they backed up his memory for later use. I buried it deep inside one of my own dreams, and then hid it inside an allegorical story so that it wouldn't be altered.
It's hard to believe that this person really existed, let alone that he tried to get rid of us on more than one occasion. Paimon has no memory of him at all. He completely vanished like a puff of smoke.
The Balladeer agreed to help me look for information about the Descenders, and although he was unsuccessful, he still helped you. Before he vanished, he confirmed an important detail, that Conria was where your twin first came into this world. We still don't know how the change to Irminsul will affect the senior ranks of the Fatui, but in all likelihood, they won't even remember their own harbinger.
I've never had this feeling before. It feels like life is as insignificant as a feather.
It sounds like Paimon wouldn't like this guy a whole lot if he was still around. But
well.
Still, Paimon doesn't like the way it all ended that much better.
This is why wisdom alone cannot answer all our questions. We look, we see, and we comprehend, but the question still troubles us. So the answer is not everything. People yearn to find the truth and then conquer the troubles they face. When you give someone the truth, you give them a chance to choose their own destiny. To others looking on, this may seem like a pointless endeavor, but for him, the chance to act on his desire to disappear must have meant a lot.
Still doesn't explain how he exists.
Never forget that even when we walk beneath dark clouds
still
along a road filled with suffering, the light of wisdom is always there, guiding us toward a better destination. And that is what you have been doing all along.
Yeah, Nahida's right. Cheer up. How about we go get something to eat? We can pick up this heavy conversation again later.
Good idea. Paimon, why don't you take her out for a walk to clear her head?
You got it. Come on, traveler. You need to get out of your head for a while. You'll feel much better after taking a walk.
Wow, that is,
It must be really tough being the only one who remembers all that. But Paimon's always here to help cheer you up.
Thanks, Paimon. I have a nagging feeling like there's something I'm missing, something important that I'm forgetting.
Hey, are you gonna answer or what?
Sorry, it's just give me a minute. I'm still processing.
Alright, whatever you want. Well, Paimon will be right here when you figured stuff out. Then we can get something to eat.
Come on, brain, let's take this out. It's gotta be in there somewhere. It was something about the Irminsul and deleting oneself. The greater Lorukadevata, forbidden knowledge, Nahida.
What is it? Have you figured it all out?
Yes, that was it, greater Lorukadevata. She said that no one can erase themselves from existence, not even her. Otherwise, why would she need to create her own reincarnation and let the Lord Kusanali to do the deletion for her? That would be no point. So that means he still exists somewhere else. He still is there somewhere, just as someone completely different. This is actually a crucially important detail. It's simply not possible for the Balladeer to completely erase his own existence. In which case, the question is, what happened to him?
Excuse me, boss. There seems to be a small problem with the last bill. Look, here.
You...
Hey! Hey, wait!
You mean me?
No, not you. That kid! Didn't you see? Little rascal grabbed my last 2 fresh Sunsettias and ran off. Look, if you're gonna help out here, you can't keep spacing out, okay? What is it? Work's too boring for you? Or has the big city got too many distractions?
I wasn't paying close enough attention.
Oh, he doesn't have
Sorry,
his vision.
boss. I think you're right. Maybe it's the city. It's so exciting. It can be hard to focus.
Who's that guy? You know him or something?
That guy is the Balladeer.
He's who?
You're a strange one, kiddo. You say you don't want any money for helping out here, and then when I actually give you some work to do, you keep letting yourself get distracted.
Oh, wait. Ah, I see. So, I saw this in his, like, version, not the version preview, like, the little character card everyone gets, on, like, they post on Twitter where they explain them. His emoji often depicts himself as his chibi self. And then there's a little version of him off to the side that still looks like Scaramouche. So he's going to have two identities.
I don't want to take advantage, so I'm happy to pay you what I'd pay anyone else. But if you keep acting like this, pretty soon I won't be able to afford to.
It's like the original self of him is going to be like this little devil on his shoulder, just...
You don't need to pay me anything. I'm just so thankful you agreed to take on an outsider like me.
You're welcome, I guess.
You're so different.
But I got bigger things to worry about. Look, we're all out of Sunsetias, and I promised the lady down the street I'd deliver a fruit bowl this evening.
Now leave it to me. I'll find some more. Just a moment. I'll be right back.
Stop. I'm gonna level with you, kiddo. I've never met a worker who said they didn't want a wage before. And at first, I got greedy. Couldn't believe my luck. But I figured you'd start asking for something in return eventually. You don't want money. You don't take days off. And in your free time, all I see you do is wander around, taking in the sights. Are you a drifter or something?
That's right, I am. We can talk more about that later. First, let me get those fruits you needed. Sunsetias, was it? I'll be right back.
Hey, what do we do now?
Let's follow him.
Okay, stay out of sight. Don't let him see you.
How do I even address you? Do you have a name?
Even though you say he's the Balladeer, what are we planning on doing? Stealing his Sunsetias? Isn't that a bit too cruel?
Shush. How did you come into being? That's what I'm wondering. If I wasn't seeing this with my own eyes, I would never believe it.
Huh? You two over there. Is there something I can help you with?
Oh, this is going to be weird.
You've been following me all the way from the city. I'd have to be blind not to notice. Have we met before? No, we haven't met. But you know me?
Yes.
I have no recollection.
It's complicated, but I do know you. I can prove it. You're a puppet. Is he still in this timeline?
Huh?
He is.
I guess you do know me after all. That is not something I share with a lot of people. Look, I'm just a wanderer. But seeing as you've gone through all this trouble to track me down, I'm sure whatever it is must be important.
There's somewhere I want to take you.
Okay, but please let me deliver these goods to my boss first. Here you go, boss. I'll leave them right here.
Who are these two?
Something's come up, and they need to borrow me. Sorry, boss. I'm afraid I'll be away from the stall for a while.
You know, seeing him all innocent and kind-hearted even like this, somewhere in me it almost hurts to know that we will have to restore his memory some point down during this quest, because I've seen the version trailer. I think that's what's going to happen.
I was just about to pay you anyway. Go wherever you want, kid. Don't waste your time here.
What?
I get it, okay? You just wanted to help me out, to thank me for giving you shelter from the rain that day. Even then, I don't understand why you're so adamant that you don't want any pay for it. But look, it was pouring down and there you were, sauntering along without a care in the world, like you had nowhere to be and didn't even care that it was raining. Imagine you were me for a second. It's a little weird, right? Why is this guy traveling during a rainstorm if he's not trying to get somewhere? And why is he taking a shortcut through the open country if he's not even in a hurry?
He doesn't know.
Your time is valuable. You know, you should go live your life.
But I don't...
You don't know where.
No, you're right. Then I suppose this is where we say goodbye. Thank you again for taking me into the city.
Don't mention it, kiddo. I've run into all kinds of characters over the years. I just hope you find your path.
Thank you. All right, done. Thanks for waiting for me. We can go now.
Nahida! Nahida!
What's wrong? Huh? Are you?
Is she in the chat room? You tell Lesser Lord Kusanali what happened in the Grand Bazaar.
You say that you are trekking across Teyvat to train yourself. Many other Inazumans who describe themselves in this way call themselves Shugenja. Why do you refer to yourself as a wanderer?
Well, it seems more relevant in my case. To me, it sounds like a plant with no roots. But these two claim that they know me, and that I have a hidden past unknown even to myself.
I wouldn't call it the past, but rather... this is a difficult one to explain. I don't like to rely on using terms like this often, but in your case, it seems that it ought to be called previous incarnation.
Oh, like a past life or something?
Yes. Something far more distant than the past. So far away that you cannot perceive it.
Okay, I have to ask. What was I like in my previous
incarnation? Yes! Kind-hearted but strange wanderer. You, in your past life, was a bloodthirsty, murderous, heartless person that has almost brought doom to two nations, one of your home nation and one of the God of Wisdom.
Jesus Christ.
Me too, Paimon. Me too.
Oh, okay, I see.
Big yikes.
You want to tell me, but you can't bring yourselves to say it. Looks like I didn't have the most wonderful existence in my previous incarnation.
We're just trying to think where to start.
If it's that difficult to talk about, I have no doubt it will be just as difficult to hear, but I'll be able to handle it. Please, tell me the truth.
Then I'll be straight with you. In your previous incarnation, you did many things that would be considered evil. You nearly died because of what other people did. And many died because of you. As a non-human being, you hated gods and humans alike. You drifted from place to place, never able to settle, even where you found status and identity. You adamantly believed that you were missing a heart. Actions rooted in persistence sometimes bear bitter fruit. Sometimes, you have to let parts of yourself go, or you'll never be happy.
Nahida tells the wanderer about his past.
I gave everything I had, but it barely changed history at all.
In terms of the outcome alone, that's true.
You're handling this quite well.
I don't think I can judge everything I've heard purely in terms of right and wrong. Each choice a person makes belongs to a specific place and time, a chain of cause and effect, a cycle of karma and consequence.
That is the nature of truth. If one thing is right, its opposite must be wrong. And yet, dichotomies like this are not enough to explain the world in all of its complexity.
It seems like my previous incarnation wasn't the most likable individual.
We're not trying to hurt your feelings or anything, but yeah, we weren't your biggest fans.
We were each other's enemies.
If we were enemies, why are you trying to help me find the truth?
Pity? Sympathy?
I want to experience my own transgressions.
Even though it will cause your present self great mental anguish?
I'm just a puppet, with no heart and no name. There is nothing in this world for me to cling to fill the void within me, except maybe these sins that can never be undone.
I'm still... okay, so he never existed. Kabukimono, the eccentric wanderer. How was he made? He was definitely still made in Inazuma, with the Nahida's reference that she made regarding to why he didn't refer to himself as the Inazuman in Inazuma, but refer to himself as the Wanderer instead. Who made him, if not Raiden?
Traveler, could I ask you to supervise him on my behalf?
Again? Okay.
Oh, good point. Given your, unique situation, we'd better keep an eye on you.
Understood.
Thank you. Now, prepare yourselves, everyone.
Oh, reminiscent drift, the memories of a certain puppet. He can be the Balladeer, the harbinger of the Fatui, and he can also be the Kabukimono who was once sighted in Tatarasuna. Here comes the combat.
This looks like Inazuma.
Right now, you're in a dream I created using information extracted from your memories. These memories will show you the raw truth, But be aware that enemies may react just like in the real world. Please be careful.
You don't need to do this for me. I don't deserve your protection.
We never give up halfway. Well, we had to once, but that was your doing.
And now we're just finishing the job.
All right. Thanks.
Wanderer, this is the Shake Pavilion. In your Balladeer incarnation, this is where the Electro Archon placed you after your creation. You had a great many memories here.
Is that because this is kind of like his birthplace?
You could say that, in a sense. You'll see why shortly.
I hear footsteps.
This place is huge. I can't believe the landslide didn't fill it in. I wonder who built it. The Crystal Marrow Miners? No, there's no way. Look at this exquisite construction work, and so well preserved, too. No mining crew would be capable of this. There's someone passed out on the ground.
Who are you?
You're awake. What happened? How'd you get stuck here? Are you injured? Not a scratch. And these fine clothes. Who are you?
This man is Katsuragi.
Come on, let me see him.
Deputy to Torichiyo's adopted son, Bikoshi Nagamasa. He found the Balladeer in Shake Pavilion and took him back to Tatarasuna.
And the rest is history. Well, it used to be.
In the original version of events, Katsuragi was ultimately killed by Nagamasa.
Let me get you out of here. Our people are nearby. Hang in there.
Let me see him in the costume, in the thing.
During the Tatarasuna Incident, Niwa was murdered by the doctor, disguised as a mechanic. The Balladeer, then known as the Kabukimono, disappeared not long after. As the second-in-command at Tatarasuna, responsibility for what had happened fell to Mikoshi Nagamasa. But Katsuragi had sworn lifelong loyalty to Nagamasa after the latter had once saved his life. At Katsuragi's insistence, Nagamasa killed him to put an end to the Tatarasuna incident.
Katsuragi seems like he was a good guy.
He looks like a warrior, but he has a kind face. Why couldn't he live a long and happy life?
Nagamasa, I found this young guy in a cave sealed off by a landslide. He doesn't remember his name.
Well, we need to call you something. I hear the workers are calling you the Kabukimono.
That's fine with me.
Katsuragi, report to Niwa. Tell him we have someone new joining us.
Oh?
Huh? What are we doing back here?
Whoa, this is where you were born? It's pretty, but there's nobody here.
I was abandoned, like you. I lived here for a while at first, but there's nothing for us here. We can't stay.
Kid, he had white hair though.
I heard my mom and dad used to make swords, but the factory manager died, and then my dad got sick. He kept coughing all the time, just like me. Then Mom started coughing too.
But you can't. You promised me.
Yup, we're family now. We're gonna be together forever and ever.
This child didn't have a name. Or rather, the Balladeer didn't know what to call him. His father died before he could name him. After his mother died, the child stayed in their straw hut alone. Some of the neighbors helped to raise him. After leaving Tatarasuna, the Balladeer ran into this child who didn't have a name, just like him. They made a promise to live together.
What happened to the child then?
He died of the sickness.
He died from his illness while he was still very young. The Balladeer came home one day and found that he had stopped breathing.
Hey! What's wrong? Say something! You promised me we could be family! You're no different from Niwa and all the others. You betrayed me too.
It's a lot to take in.
The voices have gone. It looks like the memory ends here.
I get why he doesn't have his own story quest this patch. This is his... Oh, okay. This is his story quest. This is him.
You do realize you're blocking my path.
I come not to obstruct you. I've been waiting.
What you are truly is a weapon. One that could be wielded with an iron will. Or you could continue to drift aimlessly.
Are you trying to win me over?
Long-fated rebellion has begun. Why not take your place at the banquet and join the feast?
I'm gonna like the... This is the factory!
This place is dark.
Paimon knows this place. It's the Delusion factory in Inazuma.
In the original version of events, the Traveler once encountered the Balladeer here.
Such a creepy atmosphere.
I remember this. It was an unsettling place. And it fed off my rage, too.
Hey, look over there!
Well, well, my fair lady. Is this rundown factory and these incompetent fools all for me? Wow. You shouldn't have.
Oh, well, you know, r/Signora mains, I'm gonna have something to hype over now.
Huh. What do you have to gain from belittling your subordinates? You might not want to admit it, but you are a part of this plan.
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining the whole subreddit crying tears of joy after hearing, like, more dialogue from Signora after what? She died in 2.1, like, plus 10 patches.
Perhaps you find fighting in the abyss to be a more meaningful use of your time? Oh, but of course, even this pales in comparison to being experimented on by the doctor.
What a sharp tongue you have. Funny how negotiating never seems to be your strong suit. For the task ahead, I suggest you keep your true feelings to yourself.
Save your breath. I know what I have to do.
I'm sure you think so, but I still think you need to hear it. Don't start thinking you're invincible. And don't let your emotions get in the way.
Surely you're not worried about me.
I just can't have you getting in my way. You and Child never failed to find ways to complicate things.
I'm merely lighting a little fire in this chaotic nation. But you, being tossed out like trash, must make you want to destroy it completely. Do you remember the last time you were here? That was a lot of swordsmiths you killed. I'm sure the descendants of the Raiden Gokaden are still suffering the consequences now. Look at you. Oh, don't get so sentimental. Now, give that poor little tongue of yours a rest and stop pretending like you're above everyone else. Bye then. See you at the victory feast.
That's funny.
She's playing with fire talking to me like that. Who does she think she is?
A pile of ashes.
The plot does not end here. There is more of this story to come. Wanderer, are you able to continue?
Yes. Please don't worry about me.
Why are you staring at me in silence? Can't you think of a nicer way to express yourself?
I'm under no obligation to be nice to you. Besides, I thought nothing mattered to you except results in your own interests. Isn't that right? Witch?
Mother-headed puppet. You're only number 6 because you can take more abuse than other humans. Do you really count that as an asset?
You're about as much fun to be around as a raging inferno. But before we murder each other, it'd be best if we finish our duties. Vermin!
Woo! Bro, she got nuked.
Looks like we've arrived in Sumeru.
More recent events.
Considering that Amorta's sage, Nafis, refused to join this project, I'll take part in the experiment in his place.
Welcome. I look forward to a fruitful collaboration.
When do we start?
You seem impatient.
Oh,
you
brother.
should know that becoming a god is far from a trivial affair.
The biological transformation is a lengthy process. As such, I too would recommend that we commence as soon as possible. In the event that a successful connection is established, his body will become permanently bound to the machine, and he will be unable to move independently of it.
Nothing worse than what I've been through before then, Doctor.
You were the most resilient test subject I ever came across. Thanks to you, I was able to garner a great deal of information. Alas, after that, you were under orders to remain in the abyss. We barely saw each other, and it became difficult to further refine the knowledge I had gained.
That was gracefully worded. Ever wonder what they think if they knew that nothing matters to you, apart from your crazy experiments?
I suggest you speak to me in a more respectful tone, Scaramouche. The mere fact of your utility does not make you indestructible.
That person gives off a very sinister energy.
He's the doctor, he's behind all of this.
It's normal for him to give you the creeps. He scares the bejeebers out of Paimon.
Let's move on.
You're a god. Do you think I'm evil?
If you accept that he is you, just as you are you, then yes, you are evil.
In your eyes, are there any differences between humans and puppets?
Do you think there are any differences between your present self and your previous and future incarnations? If not, then what are the differences between humans and puppets?
You're as close to human as any other
Whoever
human.
has tasted the joys and sorrows of life in the human realm is human. Whoever has loved and lost, cried with grief, howled with rage at the tragedy of death that eclipses the miracle of life, they are human too.
I've seen enough of my past. If possible, I'd like to reclaim the sins that are mine to bear. No matter the consequences, I won't run from blame or punishment. Whatever I am due, let it come to pass.
Are you saying would you like to regain your
Can you return my memories to me?
Oh, fucking God, Christ.
But won't that mean you'll lose your current identity?
I've always believed that human lives follow a set of rules, with each person being a collection of past experiences. As a puppet living in a human world, my life is subject to the same rules.
Regaining your memories means reverting completely to your previous incarnation. All the emotions that you discarded will return to you.
I don't believe so. I think it's going to create a third identity for him.
Are you sure you want to do this?
I've lived with a void in my chest my whole life. My creator didn't need me, and ever since I awoke, I've just drifted from one place to the next. But then I met you, and I finally realized that reclaiming my missing sins might be my one opportunity to become my true self.
Still sounds like Raiden was the one who made him. Is this the true meaning of Lord Rukudevata's words? A person can erase themselves, and even though the original Balladeer is gone, this person will live on in his place. Are a person's sins an inescapable part of their destiny too?
I've always felt I have an innate tendency to yearn for something more, in a way that goes deeper than for most people. But for all my soul searching as a Shugenja, I've never fully understood it. Looking at it now, it seems that I brought this curse upon myself. So I beg you, grant me this opportunity to gain a purpose, to change my destiny, and end my wandering.
Very well. Since your mind is made up, I will return to you that which is yours.
Oh, shit.
You have made your decision. Now, take this.
Set him free?
A puppet? What's he doing here? You're a human as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, no.
Everyone's here. Wonderful.
What a fine blade. Nagamasa will be thrilled.
This is my...
Is he alright?
But this is just a memory. Why do we need to do this again? That's pretty traumatic, so...
All worthless dross will be purged. That's why this won't be the end.
What? His vision. Is he going to gain his vision? Okay.
This is trying my patience. Have you got any more stupid questions?
Okay. Good to see you're all good and lively, huh? Right? You're fighting yourself.
Know your place.
Wow! Woohoo! This is how he repents for his sins. What? Woohoo! He beats his past self.
Imbecile! Get out of my sight.
You know, good to have you back.
It disappeared. Did we win?
What did you expect? I'd never lose to that.
There's the tone of voice again. You're definitely back to your old self. Wait, but it was you inside that thing too. What have you got to be smug about?
He's overcome himself, his past.
I'm harsh on myself and everyone else. Just the way I am.
Now you've recovered your memories, the past will catch up to you.
You sound like you're concerned about me.
A little.
But don't worry. Thanks to you, even if I didn't change a thing, at least I now know the truth.
The memory recovery seems to have been a success. This dream has served its purpose.
Come on. Let's continue this outside.
Me, myself, but not I. Huh. That's an interesting achievement.
Welcome back, traveler. Paimon, Balladeer.
It feels like we just went on a really long journey. Paimon's exhausted.
I am too.
You don't like being addressed by that name?
It's fine. But I was just thinking, I should probably change it.
You won't go by the Balladeer anymore?
After learning about everything the doctor did, there's no way I can carry on using a name connected to him. I'm not planning on returning to the Fatui, and they wouldn't take me back anyway. Recent events will have affected a lot of people, and they might not even remember who the sixth is. It's like you said, Lesser Lord Kusanali. Everything may look futile, but it wasn't completely meaningless. At least I made a lot of people forget about me.
But that doesn't mean your own past has disappeared.
Of course.
And your main goal, for which you gave up everything you had, you weren't able to achieve it. I hope you can see and understand that. Changing the world, changing the past, changing the fates of other people, these are not simple things to accomplish. What you are looking for is complete annihilation. But this is just a fantasy. Even if the Balladeer is removed from existence, the world will not heed your will.
Indeed. How ridiculous.
Do you regret doing all that when you've gotten so little in return?
Even if I'm completely worthless, there's nothing in the world worth regretting. Lesser Lord Kusanali, you purposely left that information in Irminsul, didn't you?
Yes. And I took pains to make sure that you'd acquire that information naturally.
Okay, did you plan this entire thing?
Why would you go to such lengths? You trying to win me over too?
Maybe she thinks you deserve a second chance.
In all honesty, Your past experiences have made you a useful asset to Sumeru and to me. Winning you over was indeed a part of my plan, but before that, I wanted to tell you the truth about your past. If all I wanted to do was use you, then I'd be no different from the doctor.
At least she bothered trying.
Very clever.
I guess you could say that's one of my virtues.
Utility to others is what gives me worth. So if embracing my sins is what it takes to make me useful again, so be it.
Nahida doesn't see you in that way.
Oh right, I almost forgot. You're the good guys. You're into justice and all that. Sorry if I have a slightly different perspective on things, but I don't feel like I've been duped. The wisest leaders are fated to end up with the best helpers. I can live with that.
I'm glad you're able to think of it in that way. Traveler, in the future, I'll continue to search Irminsul more deeply and see what secrets can be uncovered, including the beginning of your twins' journey recorded in Irminsul. What exactly happened before and after that point? I want to know as well.
Thank you. Let's hope you can find some answers.
After I dove into the information torrent in Irminsul, why did you go to Inazuma?
Because I wanted to know what you'd changed.
So that's how you found out whose fate had changed. And how? Well, whatever your reasons, you did me a favor. And I'll do everything I can to pay it back.
I didn't do all this for a reward. Please don't make it sound like I'm extorting you.
Borrowing and returning are the only real relationships between individuals. I'll balance the books one day. Don't you worry.
So he owes us now.
That's not true. A relationship between two people is not simply a ledger that can be reset to zero. I think deep down you realize this. People who show up in your life don't just evaporate like water drops and leave nothing behind. There is no such thing as balancing the books. Some things in this world can never be brought back, and they can never be changed, which is why there is emotion in the human world. Everything that you feel is real and lasting, and whatever is missing in you will not be made whole. To be human is to live with imperfections. You can choose whether or not you want to be human.
But humans can't live without a heart, can they? Anyway, I gave up trying to become a human a long time ago.
You understand what pain is perfectly well, even without a heart. You're just bearing your feelings. The past is set in stone, but you can keep moving on. And the longer your future lasts, the shorter your past will become, until one day, it is but a tiny fraction of your life.
Nahida was really what Scara needed, huh? I hope you can give Nahida a chance.
Then I guess I'll be helping you from behind the scenes from now on.
I'm glad that you've accepted our proposal. Why don't you choose a new name to celebrate?
Paimon wants to pick an ugly nickname for you, too.
Not like that.
Why?
Because addressing you as Wanderer is,
Have you got anything?
Whoa! What? You can obtain the item an appellative stroke from the Archon Quest Interlude, which allows you to change the Eon Drift's Wanderer's Ammo's name. Please take note that some names cannot be utilized in this change. Once you have renamed this character, some interfaces in the game going forward will display that name. Whoa! What? No shot! There's limited numbers saying... No way! No way! I actually get to decide! Wait, no. I need to think carefully about this then. Shit! What's this straight on me? Oh god. I need to think carefully about this. No. This can't just be a... He needs to have a memorable name. Oh, this is gonna be so confusing though. So everyone's gonna name their wanderer differently. No, okay. Keisuke.
Are you sure? Oh, alright. If you say so.
There. Now you have a name of your own.
What about a nickname? Are you done yet?
Dude, I didn't actually think they let us literally name him. What do you plan to do next?
Everyone who manipulated me and made me suffer will have to pay the price.
You mean the Fatui?
The doctor, At least. One more thing. There are still some descendants of the Raiden Gokaden living in Inazuma. Some of them know. Well, they ought to know about the connection between Raiden Gokaden and myself. I don't plan to leave Sumeru for the time being. If you see them in Inazuma, please tell them that I was the one responsible for the Raiden Gokaden's downfall.
But if we do that, then...
It's fine. Let them stab their blades into my chest if they so desire. Maybe that's how it always should have been.
Fine.
No nonsense. I like it. Alright, let's call it a day. Goodbye, wise deity. And you too.
Bye, Keisuke. Gonna have to get used to calling him that now.
I've got it! I can end my novel with some words from Mikoshi Nagamasa.
You mean because everyone else in the story is dead?
Yeah, I heard that Mikoshi Nagamasa died at a ripe old age. He's the perfect fit to be the narrator of the epilogue. The dark clouds had dissipated, but they continued to cast their shadow in Mikoshi Nagamasa's mind for decades to come. Then, one night, as an old man, he had a dream. On the night when that prized blade, the Daitatara Nagamasa, was forged, the people rejoiced, and there was painting, dancing, and drinking. All these expressions of joy melted down in the furnace fire and turned into red clouds that rallied around the final sunrise that Mikoshi Nagamasa saw in his lifetime. Life is a story too long to be told, a journey that you must walk to behold.
So now he's Keisuke. I do hope I spelled that right. Jesus Christ. Oh shit, that's so cool though. What the hell? I gotta say, it's very cool to see someone gain their vision in, like, of it actually happening for once. You know, usually it's, even Rana gained her vision off screen, which I find kind of bullshit, but you know what.
It's about time we had a break. As soon as you stop, all the tiredness and hunger comes rushing back.
This room, this goddamn room.
Huh? Look at that vase.
What about it?
Did someone break it while they were cleaning the room or something? But Paimon doesn't remember there being a cleaner.
That night we stayed here. Paimon bumped into the table after being startled by something to do with the Balladeer and broke the vase. But the Balladeer erased his existence. He changed the world, so why is this vase still broken? Right? That conversation should have never happened in the course of history if there was no Scaramouche.
You sound lost and confused.
Who's that?
I know why you are troubled. Any who knew of this would find their mind overwhelmed.
Huh? Is there someone here talking to us?
Who is this?
Unfortunately, the fate of Teyvat cannot easily be changed. Perhaps a god may have a slim chance, but for anyone else, who can say?
Who are you?
When a small animal runs into a tree trunk, though the tree may sway, it is not displaced.
Well, it's not the unknown god.
True of fate.
Who are you?
Like a vase that falls to the ground. Whether it is broken by a cat or by a bird, the result is still a broken vase, is it not? History does not change easily, but human hearts can. Believe your own eyes. Only that which you see is true. What is unseen is but an illusion.
Is that someone from the Heavenly Order? Is that someone from Celestia? Because the only one that would be concerned enough, or I think they might be concerned, to take note of this and talk to us directly about something about changing the fate of the world would be someone up there.
And who the heck was that? And what were they doing coming out of nowhere and saying all that scary stuff?
The second who came? Believe my eyes. Does she mean I should trust my memories?
Anyway, that face is still lying there broken on the ground. Should Paimon go get someone to clean it up? It feels wrong just leaving it there. Just a moment. Paimon will be right back.
Certainly not what I was expecting. Yeah, okay, really not what I was expecting. I mean, as in like, well, I kind of guessed that we would be changing Scaramouche's identity somehow, but I didn't expect this last part. Someone from up above has been watching. Someone has taken note of our actions. The actions in this world. We didn't change the timeline. All the anguish and pain people have felt because of him are still there, but it's not because of him this time. Right, so certain events are still set to happen one way or the other. Except his fate is just now, it's different. It's much different. He's a new person. Or, you know, in my case, he's Keisuke now. You know, not the longest interlude quest. Basically, Scaramouche's or Keisuke's own story quest. I hope that doesn't confuse you guys too much if I call him the name I gave him. Or should I just refer to him as the Wanderer? I kind of like Keisuke, so I'm gonna call him Keisuke. From Eccentric Wanderer, Kabukimono, to Scaramouche, the Fatui Harbinger, to the Wanderer, now Keisuke. I'm really surprised that, you know, he let us to give him a new name, but he trusts us now. He's on our side. Even though he may still act devious from time to time. In conclusion, see, that part I'm confused about. Considering he's already the Wanderer, so this is after the interlude, it shouldn't have been that long for the Fatui to just literally remember what one of their Harbinger lords look like. I mean, it still very much resembles his past self. So what's going on here? Why are they acting like they don't know him? Unless these are rookies. I was right! I was right about the demo. And some of y'all were saying it's cause, oh, it's probably cause, it's definitely because the Fatui were just rookies and stuff. That's why they didn't recognize him. No, no, no. There is no more Lord Harbinger Scaramouche. There never has been now in this timeline. It's a bit quick, no? Like 2 time warp shit in less than, like, in the span of 2 patches. The world has been rewritten. It's not too big of a change because everything still happened almost the way it should. I did wish that, like, that part where we go around to check, that we you know, go around and check what changed in this timeline. I did hope we were, like, a little bit more involved in that, as in, like, it wasn't just going around from person to person and saying, oh, do you remember the history of insert this? Please tell that to me again. Instead, like, we go and just find that out on our own, like, stuff like that, you know? I thought that would have been a cooler execution, but, you know. So now, in this current timeline of events, the entire Ishin, like, art, the whole Raiden Gokaden clan's history has changed only in the sense that the thing that destroyed them was not the cause of Scaramouche, but Dottore is now more included in the history of Tatarasuna. Yeah, because Dottore has now been written into, like, one of the main points of intention in the paper. So that might draw more attention to him. The Yashio Commission, the Kamisato's, Yaka's and Yaro's father and mother still pass away, but I don't think it was that sudden. Now, this whole Sumeru arc happens in a way so that Scaramouche was never in it. The only thing that happened was Dottore made the scholars build this whole entire mech that's now automated instead of Scaramouche piloting it. Not gonna lie, kind of worried how easily the history of Teyvat can just change like that. I mean, I wouldn't say it like undercuts the whole point of 3.2. Because, I mean, we did witness it happen, but for it to be just cut away like that all of a sudden, it's so drastic. Like, how easily we just saw, like, time being changed. It's such, like, a paradox, though. This is so confusing. Because this, it doesn't, like, run on a it always happened sequence. Because if that was the case, it would have been a paradox, because Scaramouche would have needed to be, like, imbued with all that godhood knowledge to actually have a chance to change history at all. So if he remove the fact that he was ever involved with anything in this world significantly, there would have been no way that he would attain that level of power to actually, you know, do what he did. I guess their logic with time travel and time manipulation is, it changes when it happened. It changes when it happened. Like, just think of it as this, like, the timeline where Scaramouche hops into the Irminsul and changes the time, that just no longer exists anymore. It breaks off into its own, and the timeline we were in, just, it ceases to exist. Well, that's the best, like, description I can think of. So interesting, yet I feel conflicted. I wonder how many times they're planning to do this in a plot story. But I don't think we can do that too many times. Someone from above has already noticed our actions, and they almost sent out like a warning. Wait, did this also change like all the goddamn books again? I swear to God. Yeah, I think this might have changed. I definitely believe that it somewhat mentioned, it hinted at that someone was like once dwelled here. One interlude chapter changed the entire world's history, at least as far as 500 years ago. Oh my God. If it was to help Keisuke transform from being just Scaramouche, I'd say it was worth it. He deserves a second chance. Now all that exists is a man we call the Wanderer, because he saw what caused Tatarasuna to fail, and he felt that he had been deceived, you know, all those misunderstandings were cleared up, and he reevaluated everything and said, hey, it would have been better if I had never existed. Yeah, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Because I really enjoy Scaramouche's lore. Buddy, chill, seriously. He was still constructed by A, but he was abandoned, and but he took a very different wandering path and went straight to Sumeru. Man, I have no idea what... That is so confusing. Someone needs to explain this to me. I kinda wish she realized Raiden's intentions was to never abandon you. She just wanted you to set out on your own. Very drastic. It happened all pretty fast. So, hey, let me know what you guys' thoughts and theories down in the comments. If you have some, you know, leave a like on the video, maybe, or not, whatever. But, thank you guys for watching my reaction to the Wanderer's story quest. See you guys in the next episode. Yeah, they just made that idol to be annoying. God damn it!